Welcome back to another Euro Fantasy deadline stream, this time for match day 6 as we approach the semi-finals. Today we have a huge match between Spain and France, and whoever wins this will probably be the favourite to win the entire tournament. And of course tomorrow we have the Netherlands facing England as well. There is less than 2 hours until the deadline. I'll be answering all your questions and comments as always, and I'll also be delving into my team selection. I have activated the wildcard, and currently I've only made a couple of changes from the team selection, but there could be further changes from now until the deadline, so stay tuned. I'll be going into details about the best players possible from each country and also the optimal team structure in terms of having Netherlands, English, French and Spanish players. We'll all have different opinions, but of course I'll be providing my own and explaining why. But let's get straight into your questions as always. And Edward says tough matches coming next. I wish luck to everyone. Likewise to you, good luck, and I completely agree. They're very difficult to predict, especially in terms of scorelines. Jack says, woo, I think Spain will win. Who does everyone else think? I'll be honest, I've currently got France to win 2-1 in my predictor, but that's mainly to kind of win a mini league and to go against what the top person in that mini league will be doing. But I think Spain have the edge as well, but they are missing some key players, especially at the back. Due to suspension, Carvajal is one of them, so that's what maybe France could exploit, and if they finally turn the gears up offensively, we could see a very interesting game. I had like 28 points in the bag, but no Carvajal, just had to concede and get sent off, and Morata got booked, so both Carvajal and Morata are suspended, so I got to sell him. Yeah, and that's why I'm happy I didn't play the wild card in the last match day, because of suspensions. We had plenty on the first day of match day 5, but it is what it is. I think you'll still be fine. Yeah, I watched the highlights of the shootout, but I didn't stay up. I was actually awake up until that time, but I knew it was going to be a ball fest. And for it to be 0-0, you know, Uruguay went down to 10 men when Nandes made that ridiculous challenge, and Brazil still didn't take advantage. They are a shadow of what they used to be, but football works in cycles. I'm sure in a couple of years' time, Brazil will be back to the best. But I think that's now 6 wins out of the last 19 games. They have more losses in that time frame, which is ridiculous to say the least. I saw Morata, Havertz, Carvajal, Cancelo, Fernandes for Yamal, Walker, Koundé, Rodri and Kane for a -4 hit. Yeah, I typically don't advocate -4 hits in this game, but I think all the transfers in look very solid. Fun fact, when Marino scored the winner against Germany, his dad actually scored a winner in the same stadium like 30-40 years ago. Also, RIP Pedri owners. Yeah, those that have Pedri are very unlucky. I didn't know that about Marino. That's a very nice stat there. Hi, Spain or France to win? I think Spain. Yeah, I think so, but the suspensions they have do tip the balance a little bit, and I think France have that experience and know-how. With Spain, you have a lot of exciting young talent, but maybe the mentality will be the difference. It could go to penalties, and that's where things go in France's favour. But I'm going to favour Spain a little bit more, even though my prediction does have France to win 2-1. I'm trying to cover all bases here with either fantasy points or some points on the predictor league. Hey Dylan, would you have Rice or Kante? I think in isolation, Rice is better than Kante because of ball recovery, so I'm going to go for him. Kane or Yamal? I'm going to go for Kane. Saka or Foden? Still Saka for me. England got lucky against Switzerland. The thing is, though, they consistently get over the line in these quarterfinals and semi-finals, round of 16 matches, so it comes to a stage where maybe this England team has a bit of mentality about them, but not when they reach the final. Let's see if this year will be different. Gakpo or Morata, says Rowand. Gakpo. And Morata, anyway, is suspended, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that. But either way, Morata is a very, very, very useless player sometimes. Not to be rude or anything. But let me just double check that. No, Morata is available. Yeah, I think I just read a comment that, yeah, no, that was incorrect. Morata is available, but I'm going to go for Gakpo all day long. My preference in the Spanish attack would be Yamal. But of course, you do have Williams, Fabian Ruiz and Dani Olmo in the midfield. And my personal favourite is Dani Olmo, the star man on the thumbnail. So apologies for that, I did have a little brain fart there. Thank you, Jack. And yes, we did reach 25,000 yesterday. Massively appreciated to every single one of you who have subscribed, smashed the like button, and also the super chatters, the patrons, channel members, those that joined the Discord server, the commenters. You're all massively appreciated, so thank you very much. Gary says the 25k man is back with Euro Gold for the fans. That's a great sentence. I couldn't have put it better myself, but thank you very much. And hopefully this stream is a good one. We had issues on the last one, and I think that was down to the internet, but somehow I was still able to stream. So let's wait and see what happens today. My first -4 hit in the entire campaign in the semis, doing great. Yeah, I think that's good. In UCL Fantasy and Euro Fantasy, I think I've taken a -8 hit in the last 4 or 5 years, basically. And that's 2 Euro tournaments, a World Cup tournament as well in between, and all the Champions League campaigns. How can Southampton be finished when they never even started? That's a great question, to be fair. Thank you, Edward, as well, for the congratulations. And also to Danish and everybody else, thank you very much. Have you seen Southampton play in the Premier League in the 2022-23 season? They're going to do the same. You'd never know, but in terms of player quality, it's going to be a tough one for them to stay up, but they do have a bit of pedigree in the Premier League, and they can push to a mid-table spot if they have the right investment and make some good signings. Who's here to win the league, says Demir. And Andres says, hola Dylan, Rodri o Rice. Es difícil, pero yo prefiero a Declan Rice. Y con España tienes a Dani Olmo, Nico Williams y Fabian Ruiz, que son muy buenos. Mbappe, Olmo or Nico Williams as capitán. I'm going for Olmo at the moment. I'll go into that in more detail very soon, but yeah, Dani Olmo for me. Hey Dylan, thanks so much for the great content as ever. Thank you very much, Richard. I'm using my wildcard this round. Want to finally get Gakpo in, but would you drop Morata or Depay? I drop Morata. He does get a lot of chances, and who knows, maybe this will be the time where he finally scores in a knockout game for Spain. Now, he has a good record in the Euros in general. I think he's got 7 goals in his entire career, but I drop Morata personally. Crown says Gakpo and Depay double up, or one of them and Yamal. Congrats on 25k, mate. Thank you very much. I'd go for Gakpo and Yamal. Depay has a great record for the Netherlands, but I do prefer Yamal and the way he's playing. 4 Spain defenders or 4 Netherlands. That's very tricky because I think both teams concede, but Spain have the better defence and team, yet they're facing a tougher opponent, arguably, in France. I'm going to go for 4 Spanish. Hi Dylan, I'm only planning on making 4 changes. Am I being silly keeping my wildcard for the final? Not necessarily. It's team dependent, and there are some situations where it does warrant saving the wildcard for the final. But remember, you only need 11 players for Matchday 7. You can't make subs. You can't change the captaincy. So once the deadline passes and the Euros final begins, you can't do anything else. And those in your starting 11 will score points, and you can't have any other, points being brought on from the substitutes bench. So remember, you don't need 15 players for the final. Maybe that'll change your mind a little bit, but ultimately, I can understand why in certain cases you would save the chip. Oyarzabal or Morata? Probably Morata, because Oyarzabal will likely come off the bench and he'll have limited minutes to do something. But you have to say Oyarzabal has a good record for Spain coming off the bench and making an impact. Ignacio says, Grande Dylan, vamos a por Matchday de hoy. Konsa jugará. ¿Quitarías a Bellingham por meter a Saka junto a Foden o Foden out? Prefiero vender a Foden y mantener a Bellingham, y yo creo que Konsa no va a jugar. En vez de él va a ser Mark Gay de Crystal Palace. So yeah, we do have a lot of questions coming in. So I do... Okay, yeah, the Spanish lineup is apparently out already. Let me double check that, but thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah, maybe they posted it themselves. Yeah, it's not on the UEFA website yet, but I'll have a quick look on Twitter now. Keep on smashing the like button if you haven't already, and getting us closer towards new goals, and 30k will be the next big milestone in terms of subscribers. Thank you to those that helped me reach 25,000 yesterday. But let me check the Spanish national team lineup now so we can delve into that, but I'm sure it'll be unchanged. In terms of those that are available, of course, because there are a few suspensions. So you are right, the lineup is out. So let me bring that up on screen. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm going to have to check why the transitions are a bit choppy nowadays. It's something that started to happen recently. But Unai Simon between the sticks with Jesus Navas, Nacho, Laporte and Cucurella forming part of the back four. Rodri and Fabian Ruiz with Yamal, Olmo, Nico Williams and Morata. So remember, Pedri is injured. He will miss the rest of the tournament. And we've got 2 suspensions for Carvajal and also Lenormand. So Nacho will take his place. So pretty much what we expected. I think I saw a predicted lineup yesterday which had Navas. It was the kind of most sensible and logical replacement. And remember, it will be Mbappe up against Jesus Navas. So that could be a favourable matchup for Kylian Mbappe there. Who knows? Maybe that will be enough for some of you to captain him. He was my original captain going into today, but I have changed it to Dani Olmo. I think it's very close between those two. Jules Koundé offers you kind of a guarantee of 4 points or above, and he's been excellent in this Euros tournament, but I think there'll be goals in this one. Despite how poorly France have been offensively, I think both teams will score, and that's why one of Olmo or Mbappe are my top captaincy picks on Tuesday, the 9th of July. For tomorrow, if you've watched my videos, you will know that Marc Guéhi is my favourite player to captain, should he start, which I believe will be the case. Then you've got a few alternatives like John Stones and Walker at the back. Maybe if you back the Dutch to win, you could go for a Dumfries or Van Dijk, but I think ultimately, for tomorrow, Marc Guéhi, Kane and Gakpo would be my top picks for the captaincy, and I'll let channel members and patrons know who I end up captaining by the substitution deadline tomorrow, should I say. But this is the Spanish lineup. We'll find out France's in around 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll be going to the UEFA website to do that as well. But let's go back to my team for now. And yes, this is my current team. I wouldn't recommend copying, but of course some people do that anyway. And there could be further changes. Magnan could still come in for Unai Simon. I could also go for Theo Hernandez instead of Saliba. Maybe I could also go for a Depay or Yamal up front to replace Harry Kane. Declan Rice to maybe take Saka's place. So a few things are up for grabs. Fabian Ruiz instead of Nico Williams. You kind of catch my drift, but certain players are kind of locked in. And I think those would include Gakpo, Dani Olmo, Laporte. I'd say Jules Koundé is definitely locked in. He's been fantastic in this campaign. But we'll go into that in a little bit as well. So I'm going to try whiz through these and get straight back into your questions. We do have over 500 people watching already, so thank you very much. And actually, that reminds me, it's probably time to update the title just to let people know. Yes, I am activating the wildcard. So yes, wildcard. Let's put that. Wildcard team. Yeah. All right, so there you go. I am activating the wildcard just for those that aren't aware. Let's get the stream to over 100 likes nice and early, and then we can push on towards 300, which will be our ambitious aim, should I say, by the end. Thank you, Kevy, for the congratulations. Massively appreciated. Cucurella or Laporte? Laporte for me. Do you think Luke Shaw will start? It's a tricky one because he hasn't played all tournament. Of course, he had a few minutes off the bench against Switzerland, but is that enough for him to start? I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't risk it personally with Luke Shaw. Yes, if he starts, he's got the best chance of an assist or goal combined compared to other England defenders, but you've got Marc Guéhi for ball recoveries, and he kind of guarantees you 5 points or above. So, yeah, I think with Shaw, I'd say no. I think Trippier will start instead, and ultimately, I wouldn't risk it. See, usé el comodín. I can only play 14 players. Should I play a -4? Depends which player you're taking out and who you're bringing in, but I think you're fine with 14 players. Number 2, who should I transfer out? Diogo Costa or Pedri? I'd probably sell Pedri. I think there's a high ceiling to making a midfielder transfer as opposed to a goalkeeper one. Williams or Ruiz? I've currently gone for Williams. He's a bit more exciting, but there's no denying that Fabian Ruiz has been better in terms of Euro fantasy output in this competition. He also is better for ball recoveries, and in terms of goals and assists, it's very, very close between the two, but in fact, Fabian Ruiz does lead in terms of goal contributions as well. Worth a -4 to bring my final field player. Once again, it depends who you're bringing in and who you're selling, but you don't need to take a hit. Hi Dylan, what do you think about Dembele? I am considering him as a captain. Well, Dembele on his day can be brilliant, but his end product is severely lacking. And my favourite French attacker still remains Kylian Mbappe, despite the poor tournament in terms of goals and assists. It's not a bad shout, but apart from Gakpo, Mbappe and Kane, I think the most likely forwards I'm considering are Depay and Yamal, who's probably top of my list. I'm really impressed by the Spaniard. Rodri, Rice or Kante? In isolation, I'd say Declan Rice. Now, the reason why I've gone for Kante is because I've got Saka and Bellingham already, and I want to diversify my team a little bit, and I think France have a good chance of reaching the final still, and N'Golo Kante has good player of the match potential. So it's very close between the three. Rodri's also excellent, but you've got the likes of Dani Olmo, you've got Yamal up front, but you've also got Williams and Fabian Ruiz in the midfield. So because of the balance I'm kind of going for, I've gone for Kante, but in isolation, I think Declan Rice is the best of the three. Rice or Saka also scored 100 points with 5 Player of the Match awards in the round of 16. That's great. Just felt to share that. No, fair enough. I'd probably share that myself if I had something like that. My highest score, I think, in this competition is 92. I'd go for Saka. Rice is more consistent in terms of Euro fantasy points, and he offers you a higher baseline score, but Saka's ceiling is higher. and that's why I'm going for him at the moment. But I have to stress, that isn't locked in for me, and I might end up reversing that transfer and going for Declan Rice in the end. Yeah, I don't mind Koundé captain. I'm going to show you some polls very soon as well. I'm doing that right now, and it's purely because of balance. In isolation, if you're just comparing Rodri or Kante, who's the better Euro fantasy asset, I think it's very close. But I'm going to go for N'Golo Kante. Captain choice, I might as well go into the polls right now because a lot of the top captaincy picks are covered there as well. So let's go to my YouTube channel. You can also do the same and be sure to vote yourself. So pick your favorite goalkeeper and look how close this one is between Unai Simon and Maignan. 51% of you have gone for the Frenchman. Let's see if it's changed a little bit. If I've refreshed this, it might have gone a bit more in Magnan's favour. Just give me a second. Yeah, so 50-50 now, pretty much. But I think Maignan has just a few more votes, actually. It's probably like 50.4% in his favour. Now, if we go to vote for the best captain from today's match between France and Spain, in first place is Dani Olmo with 35%, but that's just the people who watch my videos and that voted in this poll. Generally speaking, most people will be going for Kylian Mbappe, who is second in this vote with 24%. Jules Koundé is third, and I think those three are the top captaincy options between France and Spain. Yamal/Williams is in fourth with 15% of the vote, and in last, we've got Saliba/Hernandez, which was always going to be the least popular option. Next up is choose your favourite French defender, and I haven't included Koundé because for me, he's by far the standout pick. So it's between Saliba, Theo Hernandez and Upamecano, and it's very tight between Saliba and Theo Hernandez. Let me refresh this as well and see if anything has changed there. But at the moment, I'm going for William Saliba because of ball recoveries, and over half of you have done the same. Theo Hernandez is second with 45%, and Upamecano with just 4%. He's very good for ball recoveries, but he's also a bit clumsy sometimes and concedes penalties, as he did a few rounds ago against Poland. So it's worth mentioning that. Which of these English midfielders would you remove from your Euro Fantasy squad? And just like I've done myself, 60% of you have removed Declan Rice, and instead you're going for the likes of Bellingham and Saka for that England midfield double up. You could also go for Xavi Simons and go for that Dutch midfielder, which I lack at the moment. And the final poll I put out, and there were a lot of polls put in the last few hours, which of these forwards would you select? And in first, we've got Yamal with almost half of the vote. Harry Kane is second with 32%. That's what I've currently gone for. And then we've got Depay with 15% and Dembele with just 5% of the vote as well. So I might go back to these polls in a little bit because a lot of you will have similar questions ahead of today's deadline. But for now, let's go to the Spanish lineup again, and then I'll go back to my team. But for those that aren't aware, Carvajal is suspended, of course. He was going to miss the semi-finals anyway. Then he got sent off just to kind of confirm it even more, basically. Lenormand is also suspended, and Pedri is injured for the rest of the tournament. And that's why Dani Olmo has been one of my top picks and suggestions throughout all of my videos and podcasts this week. And he's my top pick for the captaincy from Spanish players. He's currently got the armband for me, but it's between Dani Olmo and Mbappe for my final captain, and Jules Koundé is still at the back of my mind, and everything else is pretty much what you'd expect. Unai Simon in goal. Jesus Navas is always going to be the most likely Carvajal replacement. Nacho, Laporte and Cucurella. Rodri and Fabian Ruiz. The same front three or front four as always, really, with Dani Olmo replacing Pedri. So pretty much no surprises there. And I'm expecting something similar with France, although there are rumours that Griezmann won't start and he hasn't had a great tournament. You compare it to his performances at Qatar just 2 years ago, and it is quite concerning and also surprising, but France just haven't got going in this tournament and are still in another semi-final. So let's go back to my team for now. I haven't made any changes yet, but there could be some action later in this stream. So yeah, we have almost 800 people watching already, which is insane. Keep on plugging away at the likes, and let's get this stream to over 100 and then push on towards even more. So let's see what channel members have posted comments that I haven't been able to go through, and then I'll catch up to the recent ones. I pray that France and England don't make it to the final. I think one of them will, to be quite honest with you. But if it was both, we could be in for another snooze fest, another goalless draw. So just don't be surprised. Thank you, Lee Omar. Massively appreciate as always. Saka or Bellingham? I've got Rice already for guaranteed points. Saka is better for England generally, but I think Bellingham. I just think this tournament has kind of been for him. He hasn't played well overall, but he comes up with those big moments, and Saka obviously produced a massive one against Switzerland, but I'm still going to go for Bellingham, I think. What do you think is the score? I think 2-1 either way. I think Spain are more likely, but in my predictor, which I'll show you very soon, I have gone for France just to be a bit different and to try to gain rank in that predictor game as well. Best double up in defence, I'd say England, Mark Gay and Stones, or you go for Pickford in goal and Mark Gay. I think England have the best chance of a clean sheet, although not by much. Do you have a favourite fantasy player ever? Maybe one that made you win a mini league one year? That's a great question. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but it's going to be biased. It's probably Messi from World Cup Fantasy. Yeah, I think it's just Messi. Just captaining him, the run he went on, and obviously I support Argentina, so I think that's just my favourite. And it also helped me win the mini league, although everyone has Messi. I'm probably captain him as well. But yeah, I'd say Messi, maybe Di Maria. In terms of FPL and stuff, I'd have to think about it because, yeah, there have been some differentials over the years, but I have to remember them. And I think Messi just stands out for me. Dembele starting, I think he will, but we'll find out in 30 minutes, so there's no need to really talk about lineups right now. Thank you, Gurf, for the super chat. I just saw it. Is your limitless lineup the same still? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to bring up on screen for myself, just to remind me of the exact team I went for. So just give me a second. Okay, I think I've got it here. Yeah. So, if I can bring this up. Okay, so I went for Pickford and Unai Simon, with Laporte, Saliba, Koundé, Van Dijk and Mark Gay. Nico Williams, Olmo, Bellingham, Saka and Xavi Simons, and the same front three. Yeah, to be honest, it's pretty much the same. I think with Dutch defenders, it's close. De Vrij has the lowest ownership, and he's very good for ball recoveries. That's why I've gone for him, and he was a saviour for me in Matchday 5. But Van Dijk, Denzel Dumfries, Ake, there's not much separating all of them. So yeah, I think pretty much that's the 50-man squad I'd go for on the Limitless. So yeah, I think if I had the Limitless chip and I used it right now, I'd go for Xavi Simons over Kante. But because I've got the wildcard activated and I want a balance for Matchday 7, I mean, you could argue maybe that's not really the case, because by going for Xavi Simons, you have an extra Dutch player. So it can work for both the wildcard and Limitless. But I just think for a single match day, Xavi Simons has the highest ceiling. But I've gone for N'Golo Kante for balance and for an extra French outfielder, should we say. I'm not sure if the Netherlands will reach the final. I actually personally think they won't reach it. So yeah, I think that would be the exact 50-man squad I'd go for on the Limitless. But there are a few 50-50 calls there, like Saliba or Theo Hernandez. And like I said, with the Dutch defenders, Van Dijk, Ake, Denzel Dumfries, or maybe De Vrij. Bestie says bring in Saka for Musiala and double up on England mid, or bring in Cucurella for Carvajal to cover Spanish defence. Great question. I'd rather go for Saka in for Musiala. I just think he has a higher ceiling than Cucurella in this match day. Spain have a great defence, only conceding twice in this tournament, facing some top teams on paper. But I think Saka is more likely to produce a big haul here, and I think Spain will concede. Edward says, I just subscribed and I'm glad I did. Thank you very much, Edward. Looks like Calafiori to Arsenal is almost a done deal. I'm quite surprised by that, to be honest, but we'll talk about that more in FPL. Maybe he'll be a good option there. Carvajal legit was going to choke Musiala. Maybe. I mean, Musiala's a quality player. It's a shame to see him out. Why not Cucurella and why Laporte? I just think Laporte is better for ball recoveries. He's shown that in the knockout stages in particular. And he's also a differential. So, yeah. I had Cucurella before. He did quite well for me, but I think Laporte is a step above. Yeah, Kane has been abysmal all tournament long, but same with Mbappe. And these are quality players that might play poorly in all of the games, like Bellingham, but they can still pop up with massive goals. And I still think Kane is arguably one of the best forwards in the game, because you compare him to Yamal and all these other options, their points tallies are quite similar, and Kane hasn't got going yet in this tournament. So I can understand your concerns, and going for a triple up in England attack does seem excessive. I know that, but I do think it's the best way of covering the England goals that will probably be scored against the Netherlands, and I think Harry Kane will deliver in the semi-finals. I might be deluded, I might be stubborn, but it's just a feeling I have, and I want to act on it. Olmo or Mbappe captain today? I've currently got Olmo, but it's quite close, almost 50-50. Once the French lineup is out, I'll make a final decision, and I could revert back to Mbappe. But for now, the answer is Dani Olmo. Thoughts on Nacho? Only 2% owned. That's a great shout, actually. I think he could get you 6-7 points quite easily, but I do think Laporte is a step above in terms of ball recoveries, and that's why I've gone for him. He's also got 5% ownership, but yeah, Nacho's a great shout. Yeah, Griezmann will probably be on the bench, you're right. Asensio, I still miss him. Yeah, Asensio, when he burst onto the scene 7-8 years ago, he was very impressive. Kane or Morata or Mbappe to remove for Depay, Gakpo. I'd remove Morata. I'd definitely remove him, and Gakpo is my preference there. Hi Dylan, I need to choose 2 between Olmo, Williams, Saka and Kante. Already have Ruiz, Bellingham and Simmons. I would go for Olmo, definitely. Then it's quite close between the others. So you've got Ruiz, Bellingham and Simmons. I think Kante gives you the best balance. You're covering all the teams in the midfield. But I'd personally go for Nico Williams, I think. Just about. I have only 12 players, 2 goalkeepers. Should I play a -4 to add Olmo? I like Dani Olmo a lot and I'm backing him to do well. So it's not a bad -4 hit idea. But I have to say, I'm just wondering who you're selling. I'm guessing it's an eliminated player or someone who's suspended. I'd say yes. And I'd captain Dani Olmo, but it's very close. How many players would you say it's fine before it's time to take no more -4s? Honestly, if you've got a full 11, that's the that's the thing you really want to aim for. Anything else is a bonus. So yeah, if you can have 11, 12 players, I don't think you need to take more hits. I know you can always be tempted to buy an Mbappe or Olmo for a -4 hit, but yeah, I think 11 is enough. Is Gay nailed on, or should I look for other England defenders? I don't think it's a guarantee that Gay will start, but I think he will. He has had a great tournament. He only didn't play Matchday 5 because of the suspension. Konsa played well in his stead, but I'd go for Mark Gay. I think he's going to start, and I don't think there's many better in that position. Only Jules Koundé, really, and that's debatable. Give me a second, by the way. Hopefully... Okay, cool. So the live chat is working as well. Olmo got me thinking about my decision having Williams. Yeah, no, I have to say, I understand that. And Dani Olmo is someone I probably should have mentioned before. I haven't really talked about him too much because he was a bench player, but he always makes an impact coming on for Pedri, and now he's going to start the game, which is massive. I think he could be a great differential here. So some questions we have answered already. I'm not going to go through them again, but thank you to Esteban Simon, or Simon, for the super chat. Currently have Williams, Rodri and Ruiz Spanish midfield. Would you change Ruiz for Olmo? And what do you think of Koundé captain? Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. I think a triple up in Spain midfield isn't really a bad idea. I think it could lead to an imbalance, and there are certain parts of my squad which are imbalanced itself, and I do recognise that, but I think having 3 from Spain does leave you a bit short in the midfield, especially if Spain go on to lose today or underperform. I'd go for Dani Olmo over... I'd personally sell Rodri. I'd keep Fabian Ruiz. I think he's a little bit better than Rodri. He's also got more goal contributions and more goal threat. So I'd personally sell Rodri to Dani Olmo. And as for Koundé captain, I think it's a great shout. In my poll I put out on my YouTube channel, I put Koundé as one of the top captaincy options. And I think he's third in the vote, only behind Mbappe and Dani Olmo. So yeah, I'm not against it. Right now, Koundé's third in my ranking for Tuesday captains. And I've got Dani Olmo as my top pick. They can both produce returns, by the way, at the same time. Koundé for ball recoveries and Dani Olmo through goals and assists. So thank you very much to Esteban. France 8 winning. They got 0 goals from open play. Even Jovic scored more from open play. They're still getting the job done, though. And defences win you tournaments and they win you titles. And France have arguably the best defence in this competition. Yamal or Mbappe? I'm still going to go for Mbappe, personally. Kante or Rabiot? Rabiot's not a bad shout. He's now back from suspension, but Kante for me. Yeah, Koundé captain, I just answered that. I think he's a great captaincy option. In terms of defenders, I think Koundé and Mark Gay are my favourite players to captain. Some not all captain Konsa. Well, it could actually pay off if he starts, but I don't think he will. I think England could revert to a back 4, and even if they don't, you could see Mark Gay, Stones and Walker as the 3 centre-backs. Gay or Saliba? I'd go for Mark Gay. Magnan and Pickford on wildcard, Verbruggen. It's close between all goalkeepers, but I'd personally go for... I think Maignan is the best goalkeeper today, by the way, and you might be thinking, well, why do you have Unai Simon? And that's because it allows me to go for another French outfield player, and I think Saliba is better than Cucurella or Nacho or the other Spanish defenders, so that's why I've gone about it that way. But yeah, Maignan and Pickford are absolutely fine. Where are you from, Dylan? So I've got dual nationality, English and Argentinian. My family are from Argentina, so I support them in all the tournaments. I've been watching every single game, and I'm talking about every single game, by the way, for the last 10 years. Before that, I'd still watch games, but not to the same level. I became a hardcore fan, I'd say, just before the 2014 World Cup. Not confident in either result. I only need to make 4 subs to have 14 players. Thoughts on saving wildcard for the final? Look, I can understand why some people want to save the wildcard for the final, but remember, you can't make subs or change the captaincy in matchday 7. You only need 11 players. So even with my structure, by the way, it's so easy to get to 11 players. Now, if certain players get injured, and let's say the Netherlands go through to the final and either France or Spain, I could then be down to 10 men with just 1 injury. So there is always that risk, but I think for most people, it's best to use the wildcard right now, and I personally made 8 changes on the wildcard, so I have no regrets, even if it turns out to be, you know, a bad outcome. I'm still not going to regret playing the wildcard in the first place. Now, for you, it might be best to save the wildcard for later, but I think for most people, matchday 6 is the best time in terms of those match days remaining. Van Dijk or De Vrij? I've currently got De Vrij because of lower ownership, and ball recoveries is quite similar. In fact, I think both of them have made 28 ball recoveries in this competition, so it's very close. Let me just check, by the way, and make sure that I haven't missed any super chats. I think we've answered all of them, so that's good. Okay, I'm now going to go back to the recent questions and whiz through them because there are a lot of things coming in. Yeah, I also agree, Vitaly, but you might be thinking, well, you're dumb then. Why are you not going for Declan Rice? It's because I've got Saka and Bellingham already, and I want a bit of balance at least. I think the only imbalance I've really got is only 2 Dutch players. If they reach the final, that is a massive problem, and it's also why I'm considering Xavi Simons for one of Saka or Bellingham to find the ultimate balance going into the Euros final. Great question by Alex as well. What do you think on the possibility of Luke Shaw starting tomorrow? Yeah, look, he's fit to play, but it's a different story coming on as a substitute than starting the game, especially in such a high-stakes game, facing the Netherlands in a semi-final. The probability, I'll probably give a very bad number here, but I think it's 50-50. I think that's what really springs to mind for me. It's not worth the risk for me because you've got Mark Gay for ball recoveries. John Stones and Walker also are quite decent in that metric. So with Luke Shaw, the only real gain you can, find from going for him, I think, is he starts the game and he gets subbed off around 60-70 minutes just before England concede. That's the only real advantage I can see. He's got more attacking potential than the others, but I'm not so sure if he'll be 100%. Yeah, I speak Spanish. I speak it all the time at home, but my English is better, unfortunately. That's something I want to change one day. Beto says, hello Dylan, maybe you already talked about it, but who to captain, Mbappe, Theo or Olmo for today? It's between Olmo and Mbappe for me, and I've currently got Olmo, as you can see on screen. And tomorrow, my favourite is actually Mark Gay. I think the Netherlands could score, but Mark Gay can still guarantee you almost 4 or 5 points, and if England keep a clean sheet, you could even see close to double digits from Mark Gay. Depay or Dembele? I'd probably go for Depay, to be honest. What do you think about doubling up on France attack with Dembele and Mbappe? It's not a bad shout, but Spain have one of the best defences in this tournament. They're the best team based on performances, and France have only got 1 goal that they scored themselves, and that was a penalty. The others were own goals they forced in, and the rest were 0-0 draws. It's not looking good for France offensively, so I think 1's enough, and Mbappe is always going to be my preference. I'm currently going for Saliba. He's better for ball recoveries than Theo Hernandez, but when you also factor in goal and assist threat, Theo Hernandez would be the more exciting player to own, and I might still go to him in the end. But I think in this tournament, the way France have played, even Theo Hernandez hasn't looked that enticing going forward. Yeah, at the moment I'm going for Saliba. That's my current preference. But it's worth mentioning that Theo Hernandez has a great record in terms of GA for the French national team. Thank you, Sheriff. Respect to your country as well. Let me know where you're from too. There's people from all over the world watching, which is great to see. Best Netherlands assets differential on the wildcard. De Vrij. He definitely springs to mind for me. Memphis Depay, also to a certain extent. I'm not sure what his ownership is. I'll double check that right now. His ownership is 6%. Yeah, so Depay, De Vrij, and apart from that, well, that's enough already, isn't it? To be fair, I think those two spring to mind. Why does Copa America not have a fantasy game? Lack of vision. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure exactly why they don't. I think if you go to certain websites, you can make a fantasy team, but it's a bit different. It's not like this, which is a shame. I think one day there will be a Copa America fantasy game, but yeah, that's going to be wild. Dembele looked great against Portugal. He was good, to be fair. One player of the match. It's not a bad shout at all, so don't let me discourage you. But it's just I'm not too big of a fan of going for two French attackers when they've been so poor offensively. I'd much rather go for a Spanish double-up offensively. Yes, I know England have also been a bit like France, where they've underperformed, but I think they have better assets in general, with the exception of Mbappe, who is arguably the best of the lot. France haven't announced their lineup yet. I'll double check it now, but I don't think they have, so we're going to wait a little bit longer. Within 10-20 minutes, they will release their lineup, and we'll be going through both of them because Spain has already been covered on this channel. Thank you to those that liked the stream already. Let's get this over 200 likes now. We have almost 900 people watching, and the turnout for UCL, Euro, and World Cup fantasy streams is incredible. Hopefully we can translate this to FPL next season too. Sell Williams for Olmo. I prefer Olmo, so yes, reluctantly I would. You could also still go for both of them. Thank you, Doran, for joining on Patreon. That's massively appreciated. And I will give a shout out to all the paid members on Patreon and also the channel members too. From time to time, free members can gain early access to my videos, and they can kind of get a taste of what paid members can see. But all of your support is massively appreciated, so thank you very much. And also, by the way, for those that have signed up as paid members, you can see my team first before anybody else, but at the moment I've literally made no changes, but I did post my team before the stream even began. So let's get into your questions again. Do you think it'd be wise to favour Yamal over Kane? I don't think it's a bad idea. Yamal's been more impressive in this tournament, but Yamal hasn't scored a goal yet, and Harry Kane has got 2 goals, as bad as he's played. So look, for me, it's still very close, and I'm always going to favour Harry Kane's goal potential over Yamal, and that's why I've gone for him. My prediction is 2-1, and it's going to be a very sit-on-the-fence answer, and I don't want it to be. But I think it's very close either way, and on the predictor, I went for 2-1 France, because I want to go different. Most people are going for a Spain win, and I want to kind of go against that and see if I can gain some rank on the predictor league. But in terms of my prediction, what I think is going to happen, I'm going to stick to it. I think 2-1 Spain, but of course the suspensions they have do leave some doubts in my mind, and I think that gives France a little advantage here. Abhishek says, hey Dylan, love from Abu Dhabi. Love your content. Keep going. Thank you very much. And like I said, there's people from all over the world, and it's always great to see. JPSPB says, congrats for the 25k. You deserve it. Thank you very much. Magnan and Laporte or Unai Simon and Koundé. Both great duos, but I'm going to go for Unai Simon and Koundé. Lineup is out for France. If that's the case, I'll go through that very soon. Why Williams over Rodri? More goal potential. I think Rodri is more likely to get you 4 points or above, so a higher baseline score, but Williams' ceiling is higher. I might still change this, by the way, and I think the best midfielder I'm missing is Fabian Ruiz. Even Declan Rice and Xavi Simons could also get into my final team, but it is what it is, you can't have everybody. So France's lineup is apparently Magnan, Koundé, Upamecano, Saliba, Theo Hernandez, Kante, Tchouameni, Rabiot, Dembele, Kolomuani, and Mbappe. So thank you to Jesma for posting the lineup. And I think you are correct. It is available. Not on UEFA's website yet, but it should be updated very soon. So I'll show both lineups in a little bit when they are confirmed on UEFA's website. I'm shocked you're also Argentinian. Trust me, you're not the first. Never would have guessed based on your accent or anything. Cool. Hope you win Copa America. Thank you very much. It's going to be tough. It's Canada tonight, and then it's either Colombia or Uruguay in the final. They're both looking very strong. But yeah, it'd be historic, by the way. It'd be Argentina's 4th trophy in a row. I'm hoping they can get the job done, but one step at a time. Navas at right back, Mbappe and Hernandez could be feasting. Yeah, that is true. I think that's the weak link of the Spain team right now. If it was Carvajal, it's a different story. So yeah, that could also pave the way for me captaining Mbappe at the end. Foden or Bellingham on wildcard? Bellingham. Now, every England player really has stepped up on different occasions, and Foden is yet to do that. So this could be his time in the semi-finals, arguably. But I'm going to go for Jude Bellingham here. Trying to spam the chat because you're just going to be timed out or banned. It's not good for anybody. You get in the way of people who are waiting for their questions to be answered. Saka or Rice? I'm going for Saka right now, but this is one of my possible changes by the deadline. Same with Maignan over Unai Simon or Theo Hernandez in for Saliba. And I think the other changes could include Xavi Simons or Fabian Ruiz entering my midfield as well. Captain who? I'd go for Mbappe there, but it's between Mbappe and Olmo. I wouldn't really captain Williams today, personally. Yeah, Laporte over Cucurella, I discussed this earlier, but lower ownership, better ball recoveries, particularly in the knockout stages, so I don't think it's a big call. Score predictions, 2-1 Spain and 1-1 between England and the Netherlands, but I might change that, to be honest. I think it's very difficult to predict score lines at this stage of the competition. Foden plus Bellingham to cover Kane, have Morata Depay differential. Yeah, that's fine. You don't need 3 England attackers like I have. If you do go for Rice, that technically doesn't count as a triple up offensively because he's there for ball recoveries. But yeah, I personally prefer Saka over Foden. That's what I would say to you, but it's up to you what you go for. Yeah, Spain lineup I've covered already, Abhishek, and the French one is already out as well, I believe, but not on the UEFA website. Once it is, I'll show you both lineups at the same time. I would go for Nico Williams personally, but Rodri is still a great option. Kane scores a penalty. It's probable, yeah. Captain who? Covered. Palmer to start tomorrow? No. Especially after how Saka played, there's no chance Palmer plays tomorrow unless England go for something wild. Saka actually plays left wing back this time to kind of shoehorn Mbappe in. Sorry, Mbappe in. Palmer in. Best triple Spain attacking players. Dani Olmo, Williams, and it's between Yamal and Ruiz. I'd probably say Yamal as a purely attacking player. I'd go for Dani Olmo, Bojan. Who is penalty taker in Spain? Rodri. Oh, never mind. It works, says Doran. Thanks for the content. What's your prediction for Argentina-Canada? I'm Canadian, so got to go Canada on pens. Well, the first game was a wild one. I think Canada played quite well. They had a few chances of their own, but Argentina had 9 big chances and their finishing wasn't on point there. They can't play the way they did against Ecuador because that was Argentina's worst performance in 5 years. It was embarrassing to watch, to be honest. I think they'll step up and produce a good performance. I'm going to go for 2-0 Argentina again, but let's wait and see. I don't think Canada are a bad team. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to go for 2-0 Argentina. Let's see how wrong I am, or hopefully right. Rosie over Nico. I'm guessing that's Rodri. Maybe due to ball recoveries and minutes. I'm not against that. Same with Fabian Ruiz, who has ball recoveries and goal potential. What do you think about captaining Rodri today? What's the better captain if I'm at a high rank and want to play it safe? A safe captain, so to speak. Mbappe is still quite safe because most people will captain him. But if not, I'd say Jules Koundé would be quite safe overall. Yeah, I always stream pretty much, unless I specifically say I can't do it. But yeah, 2 hours before the deadline, I'm here for Euro, World Cup, UCL, and FPL. Kane, Williams, and Simmons, or Yamal, Kante, and Ruiz. I would probably go for Kane, Williams, and Simmons, but not by much. Rodri, captain against the defensive French side. He is the guy who can score outside the box goals in these situations, has ball recoveries, and could provide a man-of-the-match performance. That's a great shout. I think that's a good analysis, and I mentioned something like that in my recent video about Rodri scoring in clutch moments, especially outside the box, and the ball recoveries is his main appeal. So I'm certainly not against it. Rodri can still enter my final team, and he made 14 ball recoveries against Germany. We could see something similar against France tonight. Hola Dylan, tengo una pregunta. Tengo que sacar 4 jugadores que no jugarán. ¿Crees que es necesario usar la wildcard? Gracias, un saludo. Bueno, ya tienes 4 transferencias. Sí, ya tienes 4 transferencias para modificar tu equipo, pero sí, creo que el comodín está bien para usarlo ahora, porque en la final no puedes hacer sustituciones o tampoco puedes cambiar el capitán, así que es mejor usar el comodín ahora para la mayoría de la gente. What's your prediction for tomorrow's match against, in the first team and players to score? I'm honestly at a loss for that because I've gone for 2-1 France, Mbappe to score first, France to score first, and I put the booster on that. But the other game I've gone for 1-1 between Netherlands and England, and I think I put Kane to score first. So I'm not entirely confident about either prediction. Simmons or Olmo? Olmo. So let me just show you people my predictions. But before I do that, join the Euro Fantasy League if you haven't already. The code is JCRHjQ. There is an auto-join link in the description below as well. And these are my predictions. So 2-1 France, as I said, Mbappe to score first, and the booster is active. And I've gone for 1-1 between the Netherlands and England. Actually, I went for Gakpo to score first and the Netherlands. So yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely sure about both predictions, to be fair. But I'm kind of going all in on the first game, which is tonight, of course, between Spain and France. I personally think Spain will win, but I'm kind of covering all my bases here. So if I captain Olmo in fantasy, I'll probably go for the opposite here and kind of favour Mbappe and France. But it's such a tight game to call. I think it could go penalties, at least extra time. So it's going to be a very difficult one to predict. So I might go to the polls again, just show you them one more time and see the updates to the votes and see if anything has kind of become clearer. Well, not this one. Magnan is still sharing 50% of the vote with Unai Simon, but I think Magnan is slightly ahead, as you can see by the bars there. I think it's a very close call. Magnan, for me, is better in isolation, but if you're trying to double up on Spain and France defensively, I'd rather go for the French defenders and then Unai Simon in goal, as opposed to 2 Spanish defenders and then Magnan in goal. But of course, that might not make sense to some of you, and I understand that. The next poll, which I'm going to refresh right now, is about the captaincy for today. And for me, the top 3 options are Dani Olmo, Mbappe, and Jules Koundé. And Olmo is leading with 34% still. Mbappe is second, and the gap has closed a little bit. 28%. Koundé is third with less than 20%. And then we've got Yamal Williams in fourth and Saliba Hernandez with just 4% of the vote. In terms of your favourite French defender, excluding Koundé, who for me is the standout, Saliba is leading this with 51%, Hernandez second with 44%, and then Upamecano is last with 4%. This will be about the English midfielders, Bellingham, Saka, Rice. Some of you might be thinking, where's Foden? And that's completely fair enough. But Declan Rice is actually losing, technically, because this is to remove one of these midfielders from your team. And Declan Rice has been very consistent with his output, with ball recoveries and the odd assist here and there. Bellingham is second with 22%, and Saka is last after his great performance against Switzerland. The final poll I put out, and I might put a live stream poll, should I say, and maybe cover something different. But the last poll I put out was about forwards. Yamal is leading with almost half of the vote. Kane is second with 35%, Depay is third, and Ousmane Dembele is last with just 6% of the votes as well. So let's now go back to my team. I haven't made any changes yet. There could be a few modifications before the deadline, but at the moment I'm quite happy with how things look. Thank you for the super chat. I think that's Haribo, as always. Massively appreciated, mate. Let me just get your super chat up. I'm trying to find it. All right, so have 6 eliminated, need -8 for a full 15. Currently missing 1 goalkeeper and 1 defender. Are Magnan and De Vrij worth a -8? Magnan averaging 6 and De Vrij averaging 6.8. It's a great question, Haribo. Thank you very much. Maximum, I'd take a -4 hit. I would not take a -8 for both of them. And even in Euro Fantasy, where goalkeepers have been quite impressive, Magnan obviously been the highest scoring goalkeeper in the game, I don't think it's worth a hit for him. I'd honestly only take a hit for De Vrij, and even then, it's pushing a little bit. I could see England scoring, and De Vrij could ultimately get you 3 or 4 points, which doesn't really justify the hit in the end. So my personal preference is actually to take no hits and just go for 13 players for free, as opposed to taking a -8 for 15. But a -4 is reasonable in my opinion. A -8 is probably a little overboard, and I wouldn't do that, Haribo. So my personal preference, like I said, is to keep things as they are and don't take any hits whatsoever. Both games 0-0. I mean, it's possible, given how this tournament is going, but I think there will be 1 goal across both semi-finals. Why De Vrij instead of Van Dijk? Well, more budget-friendly is one of the reasons, but not too relevant now because it's so easy to build a 50-man squad and stay within budget. But I think the main reason is because he's a lower-owned player. Van Dijk is owned by almost half of the game, whilst De Vrij had 5% ownership the last time I checked, and I had him in Matchday 5. He scored that goal, got player of the match, so that's why. So yeah, lineups are out. Yeah, so we have covered both lineups already, but I'll show you both of them on screen now. So let's go to UEFA.com and show you the French and Spanish lineups and just recap what we've discussed already. So Unai Simon is in goal for Spain. Jesus Navas replaces the suspended Carvajal, and Nacho also replaces Lenormand. We've got Laporte and Cucurella, with Rodri and Fabian Ruiz as the two midfield pivots, with Yamal, Williams, Dani Olmo replacing the injured Pedri, and Morata up front. Whilst with France, we've got Magnan, Theo Hernandez, Saliba, Upamecano, Jules Koundé, Rabiot, Tchouameni, and Kante. Mbappe, Colomwani, and Dembele are up front. So no Griezmann, he is benched as discussed by some predicted lineups in the last couple of days. And I don't think there's any real surprises from the Spanish lineup given their suspensions and injuries. So yeah, those are the lineups. I'll keep that for a little while longer. We have over 1,000 people watching. Let's get these likes up to 300. It'd be massively appreciated. And thank you to those that have supported the channel already. We reached 25,000 subscribers yesterday, and it's all thanks to your support. So let's keep on pushing there towards new goals in the future. And 30,000 by the end of the year will be the next ambitious target. So that's all covered. Later on, I'll probably do a shout out to the patrons and members on YouTube, but we'll do that in a while. I think for now, I'm going to go back to my team very shortly and also to your questions. There's a lot of activity in the chat. Yeah, like I said, the Euro Fantasy support has been incredible. The growth in the last month has been insane. So thank you once again. Any changes from your patron team, Dylan? It's pretty much the same. So I posted that before I went live, and I haven't made any changes whatsoever. You can see my team on screen. Not right now, of course, but if you rewind or if you just wait a few minutes, you will see also when I go back to my team. So, hi Dylan, good luck this match day. Likewise, Soldier Boy, 25k. Yes, we hit it yesterday, and yeah, I have to say, I think we reached 23,000 back in March, but yeah, the last month has been great. We had almost 2,000 subscribers in that time frame. Polo Goose says Drake bet $300,000 on Canada to beat Argentina. Yeah, but to be fair, he actually betted on Argentina to win the World Cup. So once I saw that, I thought, oh, France are going to win, aren't they? And he almost jinxed us. Where can I find the poll? Just click on my logo, go to my channel, and go to the community tab, and you can see all the polls that I've put out for the captaincy, best defenders, best English players, and much more. Felix says, Ruiz or Williams? I've gone for Williams at the moment. Fabian Ruiz has arguably been better in this tournament, but I'm going for Williams right now. Robert and Rudy says, what do you think of a Ruiz, Olmo, Rice, Nico, Rodri midfield? It's a very solid midfield, and triple up in Spain isn't really a bad thing, but I'd still recommend a Saka or Bellingham, sorry, if you can, and N'Golo Kante, maybe even Rabiot can be decent alternatives. Xavi Simons as well. But yeah, I'd probably try to go for a Declan Rice. Well, you got Rice, sorry. You got a Bellingham or a Saka in there if possible. I still think Kane is a good pick, but he's definitely underperformed in this tournament. Saliba or Van Dijk? I'd go for Saliba. Van Dijk or De Vrij? De Vrij for me, but there's not much in it. Theo or Saliba? I've currently gone for Saliba. So I'll just go back to my team. Some of these questions will be answered by just seeing who I have currently, because, yeah, it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Olmo is starting Juan. I literally just covered the lineups. You can see them on screen, or you could have a few seconds ago. So he is starting. I don't know what else to say. Rodri or Rice? Rice. Double Spain or France defense? France. Theo or Koundé? Koundé. I think Koundé is the best defender in the game, alongside Gay. Yeah, Rabiot interesting, but he only missed the last game because he was suspended. He's a first-choice player for Didier Deschamps. Let me actually check Rabiot's Euro Fantasy output. It's kind of average, you know. 4-5-3-2. Yeah, I'd rather have Kante in that midfield, but who knows? Maybe he'll finally get something. Thoughts on Colomwani? Not impressed. I'd rather go for Dembele if you want to go differential in the French attack. I think Colomwani can be quite wasteful, and maybe we'll have that kind of perception because of the World Cup final, but he missed a big chance against Portugal as well, and I just don't have that confidence he'll score when through on goal. I'd rather just have Cucurella than Jesus Navas, personally, and I think Nacho is a step above both of them, probably. Definitely over Jesus Navas, and then you've got Laporte, who for me is the standout Spanish defender. Rodri or Fabian? I'd go for Fabian, but I'm kind of warming up to the idea of Rodri. He's a big game player, very good for ball recoveries, and I think the way this game can pan out, Rodri can get a lot of points from those recoveries. Sí, creo que ya respondí a esta pregunta. Usaría el wildcard ahora, si puedes. Rodri or Kante? I've gone for Kante for balance. In isolation, it's very close. You could argue Rodri is the better asset, but I think Olmo and Williams or Fabian Ruiz is enough to cover the Spain midfield, and then go for Kante to diversify things a little bit. I'd say Koundé is the best defender in this Euros. Camavinga is such a better player than Rabiot. I agree that Camavinga should start, but yeah, Didier Deschamps has his reasons. He's one of the best managers in international football, so we'll wait and see what happens. Why not Depay? I think Gakpo, Mbappe and Kane are better. Depay is good, but I'd rather go for those three players. I'm praying for England's downfall, says Soldier Boy. Fair enough. Saka or Kante? Saka. Kante or Rodri? I'll probably stick with Kante. Van Dijk or Ake? Van Dijk, but not by much. It's really close call. Do I really need Netherlands defence? Not really, but I mean, with my team, it's bad enough. I've only got 2 Dutch players overall. I think that's a bit imbalanced, but yeah. Be careful. That's what I'd say. Be careful about going without any players from a certain country, because if they reach the final, you might struggle to get to 11 players for Matchday 7. Thank you, Gaspi. Kane or Yamal? Kane. Do you trust Spain with Nacho starting? I think Nacho's not really a problem. If anything, it's Jesus Navas as the right back instead of Carvajal. Now, Jesus Navas was a good player back in his day, but he is aging, to put it one way, and he's up against Mbappe. I think that could be a mismatch, personally, and that's where France could have some joy. So Nacho is absolutely fine. He's a solid defender. I'd argue he's better than Lenormand, but it's it's Jesus Navas instead of Carvajal, which is the worry. I think Depay is the main penalty taker, with Van Dijk second. My Spanish girlfriend's little brother said Rodri is better than Ruiz, so I trust that man. Well, Rodri's a much better player. There's no denying that. Rodri's probably the best midfielder in the world, to be honest, but Ruiz is better in terms of goal contributions, and he's had a great tournament. If I was doing a team of the tournament up until this stage, I think Ruiz would be in it. I don't know, Random says, I have Bellingham, Olmo, Rodri, Simmons and Musiala eliminated. Should I take a hit and sub anyone out for Williams or Ruiz? No, I wouldn't take a hit if possible. Just use free transfers. I don't really see... yeah, Musiala's the only eliminated player. Focus on that. I wouldn't take hits if possible. Hey Dylan, good luck for you, dude. Likewise, I'm 488th in the world right now. Should I go for differentials or should I go do a team like everyone else? Well, it depends, right? If you want to go for it and push even further into the top 100 and potentially beyond, or do you want to just stay where you are? And I think most people in your situation would kind of be conservative and go for the template picks. I think the best play ultimately is to keep on making the decisions that brought you here in the first place. So it could be a combination of conservative picks, templates, or you go for some differentials like Laporte at the back. So that's the best balance. And ultimately, if you go for a 50-man squad like my one with a few alterations, I think that would be more than enough to secure that really high rank and potentially exceed it with another green arrow. Rice, Rodri, Olmo, Saka, Bellingham, a good midfield? I think so. My only issue is that, just like I said with Spain and a triple up there, there is a sort of imbalance in the midfield. You've got no one from France and no one from the Netherlands. Yeah, you're kind of going all in on 2 teams in the midfield, which isn't a bad thing. I would argue Spain and England have the best midfielders left in the competition, but maybe I'd tone it down a little bit and replace one of the English midfielders. Which would you take out of Cucurella, Laporte or Van Dijk? Laporte. Laporte is one of my top differential recommendations in this match day. Carl, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate your streams, mate. Thanks to you, I won my UCL Mini League, and I'm 25 points clear in my Euros League at the moment. Keep up the great work. That's great to hear, and hopefully you can secure that victory in this Mini League too. There's still a way to go with these 2 match days, but you're in a great position, and I wish you the best. Thank you very much for the generous super chat, and good luck for match day 6. My team is ready. 3 French, 5 Spanish. Viva España. I'm just wondering what your balance is for England and Netherlands as well, but that's fair enough. Hola Dylan, my midfield is Simmons, Bellingham, Ruiz, Williams and Musiala, who I want to transfer out but don't know for who. I understand what you're saying there, but Dani Olmo would be my preference. The only issue with that transfer is that you have 2 Spanish midfielders already, so if you don't want to do that, instead of Dani Olmo, I would probably recommend one of Saka or Declan Rice. Pick one between Williams, Kante, Simmons or Rice. I think Rice is kind of the most guaranteed to score points, right? But I'm going to go for Williams for the attacking potential. Rodri or Olmo? I'd definitely go for Olmo. And look, I'm warming up to Rodri. I might even buy him at the end, but Dani Olmo is my favourite Spanish midfielder right now. Varane to Como. Yeah, I saw that. It's an interesting transfer to say the least. I think Fabregas was a coach there, and Thierry Henry has a stake in that club. Upamecano for Van Dijk or Depay, Gakpo for Griezmann? Gonna have to think about this. Good questions. I would rather buy Gakpo for Griezmann because he's benched. At least with Van Dijk and Upamecano, they both start, so I'd focus on the forward transfer there. Laporte or Saliba? Saliba. Who are your top differentials for someone who is chasing a mini league? De Vrij, Laporte at the back. I still think Mark Gay is a relative differential, although I think maybe he has 10% ownership now. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 12% ownership. Yeah, low owned in the grand scheme of things, but still not a big differential. But yeah, I'd say De Vrij, Laporte, Dani Olmo is definitely one of my top picks. He's got 27% ownership, so it's not great, is it? Let's see who else I can think of. Ruiz is also highly owned. Rodri is 21% owned. Nico Williams, 37% ownership. It seems like everyone has Spanish midfielders, actually, so not great. Even Yamal, 30% ownership. So yeah, I'd say Depay, De Vrij and Laporte immediately stand out for me. And Declan Rice, who has 10% ownership now. It was around 6% the last time I checked, but I think these players can definitely make a difference. And Mark Gay with 12% as well. Now that we are at the semi-final stage, a lot of our teams will start to be similar. It will be more like FPL where the template is strong. But there is still some room for manoeuvre and also to be different. There are some 50-50 calls like De Vrij or Van Dijk and stuff like that. And going for De Vrij with much lower ownership can also go in your favour, like it did for me in match day 5. So yeah, hopefully those names help you. Good captains for today. Dani Olmo, Mbappe and Koundé. Those are my top 3. I do not have Olmo. In that case, I'd say Mbappe or Koundé. Do you like Tchouaméni as a differential? It's a good shout. If I didn't go for Kante, or if I don't go for him, and I still want that French midfield coverage, I think Tchouaméni would be above the others, like Rabiot and Camavinga. Who's going to go through according to you? Spain and England. But I have to say, Spain-France is very tough to call. I'm 50-50 on it. I probably shouldn't put my booster on it in the predictor game, but it is what it is. I'm getting a lot of questions about Laporte, so just to kind of make it clear, in the knockout stages, he's getting a lot of ball recovery points, and he's also got 5% ownership, and I really like how Laporte is playing, as opposed to Cucurella, who's been very fortunate not to concede penalties in the last couple of games, and he's still a good option, by the way. Same with Nacho and Jesus Navas, but Laporte for me is the best Spanish defender, and if you can find a way to be different to others, and Laporte has just 5% ownership, I'd take that opportunity when possible. Simmons or Kante? Very close, but I've gone for Kante. 4 English, 3 Netherlands. Come on, England, says Gary. Fair enough. Good luck to England as well, and obviously to all nations participating. Why do you pick Simon over Magnan? To be able to go for 2 French defenders, and I'm not a big fan of Nacho, Cucurella and Jesus Navas compared to Theo Hernandez and Saliba, who I wanted to bring into my team. So, very close call. And also, I'm backing Spain a little bit more over France, and that's why I've got Unai Simon. John Paul says, congrats on 25k subscribers, Dylan. Thank you. Who would you captain of, Hernandez, Koundé or Mbappe? It's between Koundé and Mbappe for me, so I wouldn't really include Theo Hernandez here. I think Mbappe, especially with Navas playing right back. My captain at the moment is Olmo, but it could change to Mbappe. I have 6 Spain players and keeping my wildcard for the last day in case Spain are out. Yeah, that's fine. It allows you to go all in on Spain, and if it doesn't really pan out the way you want, you've got the wildcard in your back pocket. But remember, you only need 11 players for match day 7 because you can't make subs or change the captaincy. Not necessarily. I think it's very close. I've got 4 players from each team. So just to kind of reiterate, I've got Unai Simon, Laporte, Olmo and Williams. That's 4. Mbappe, Kante, Saliba and Koundé for France. So 4 each. I'm personally backing Spain a little bit more, but that game is a coin toss for me, even though Spain have been better in this tournament. I wouldn't go for Kolo Muani as discussed earlier. I think Mbappe is by far the best French attacker. Thank you, Jaconaya. Yes, the UCL and Euro Fantasy streams sometimes reach some crazy numbers. I'm happy with everyone who's turning out here. Let's try to get this stream to 300 likes if possible. It'd be greatly appreciated. And also, massive shout out to the super chatters. You are also much welcome. Kane and Nico Williams versus Yamal and Saka. That's a great question. I would go for Kane and Nico Williams. Ruiz or Williams? Throughout this tournament, I've been, backing Fabian Ruiz, but I'd go for Nico Williams here. Laporte or Walker? Laporte. Yeah, I think Laporte, and to cover England defensively, Mark Gay. He's my favourite way of doing that. I just keep Xavi Simons, to be honest. You don't need to sell him. Theo Hernandez captain. Not a bad shout, especially up against Jesus Navas, but my favourite captains from today are Dani Olmo, Mbappe and Koundé. Dumfries over Van Dijk as a differential. Yeah, Van Dijk has ridiculous ownership. I think it's 48%. Let me just double check that. 50% now, in fact. So he's a very template pick. Dumfries, meanwhile, 11% ownership. So De Vrij or Dumfries are definitely worth mentioning. Dumfries for the attacking potential and De Vrij for the ball recovery. So you're on the right track, in my opinion. I'm completely on board. Can I sub and then wildcard today? Or is it only one or the other? I'm guessing you mean make transfers. So I've been asked this a lot in the comment section recently. When you make transfers and then activate the wildcard, it really makes no difference. The only difference it makes is it cancels any hits you may have taken beforehand. So the wildcard enforces permanent changes to your squad, whilst the limitless enforces changes for one match day only. And if you make transfers before activating the limitless, then those transfers will be cancelled out and then your team reverts back to how it was, before you activate the chip. So it makes no difference really with the wildcard. I want Rice so bad, but I don't know who to take out. Same here. Rodri as well, Xavi Simons. It's so difficult to find that perfect balance, and maybe that's why those that wildcard in match day 7 will have a slight advantage there. Which two to select? Ruiz, Kante, Simons, Saka, Rice and Rodri. I'd personally go for Saka, and I'm not sure who your other midfielders are, but I actually think Rice is very good for ball recoveries. So unless you have another English midfielder already, I'd say Saka and Rice. In isolation, Raj, I would go for Declan Rice, but I'm going for a balance because I'm wildcarding and I want 11 players for the final, so I've gone for Kante. Some questions are being repeated, by the way, and I have highlighted the messages and answered them, so try not to do that, otherwise you'll be timed out. Want to put Dembele in my team. Remove Kane or Gakpo. That's extremely difficult. I'm personally backing England to win, but it could be on penalties or extra time. I think it'll be a cagey affair. Gakpo's been in much better form, but I have a feeling about Kane in this match day. I really do. So, honestly, I'd probably remove Gakpo reluctantly, which might be a bad call. Why not Yamal over Kane? Yamal hasn't scored in this tournament. He's been great. But, yeah, look, for me, Yamal... By the way, let me just double check that. Yeah, Yamal's got 3 assists in this tournament. He's played very well, but Harry Kane, for me, has much better goal threat, and I've got a good feeling about him in the semi-finals. So, yeah, for me, I wouldn't go for Yamal over Kane, but I can understand why some people are doing it based on form. But also, remember, the Netherlands are quite suspect defensively, whilst France and Spain both have the best defences in this tournament. Yeah, Saka over Simons for me. Best Netherlands defenders. Very close, but I've gone for De Vrij for the ownership and ball recovery potential. But yeah, I think it's between him, Ake, and I think, yeah, I'd probably say Van Dijk is the safest pick. He's got the biggest goal threat in particular. But I'm a bit put off by the 50% ownership, to be quite honest with you. I'd say De Vrij. I'm going to stick with him. We get 5 transfers for match day 7. What do you think of double Netherlands defence? If you're backing them to win, I'm not really against that. They're the only team that I've only got one player to cover their defence from. Everyone else has a double up, which could be a mistake, but yeah, I'm not really against it. Who would be Spain's penalty taker? Rodri. Saka or Nico Williams? Saka. Irish BBB, good to see you. Hi Dylan, should I go for 3 France and 1 Spanish defence, or 2 French and 2 Spanish? I'd go for 2 from each. That's what I've done, personally. Which one to start, Magnan or Simon? Probably Magnan, actually. Yeah, we're getting some repeat questions, even though I've answered them. Let me just moderate the chat. Yeah, it's getting in the way of other questions as well. So yeah, try not to spam the chat. It does get a bit frustrating, especially for those watching. So yeah, just sorting that out now. All right, back to your questions. I'll be locking in my wildcard team fairly soon. Ranked Spanish defenders in order. Laporte first, Cucurella second, Nacho third, and Jesus Navas fourth. 2 from Olmo, Ruiz, and Williams, or do I keep all 3 because I don't know if it's worth going 5 from Spain? I would go for Olmo and Williams. Going for all 3 isn't a bad idea. But yeah, I'd go for Olmo and Williams at the moment. I'm not sure why everyone's putting in capital letters. Calm down, man. You know, do you have a broken caps? Anyway, yeah, who to captain? That's up to you, mate. Like I said, Olmo, Mbappe, and Koundé are the best ones from today's matches. I've currently got Olmo, but it's a coin toss between him and Mbappe. I might change it. Yamal or Kane? I've gone for Kane. Alfonso says, I have Cody, Kane, and Yamal. Should I stay with that or maybe go with Morata? I'd be intrigued by Memphis. Not really appealed by Morata, though. I wouldn't go for him. So yeah, your front 3 looks great. But I have a great feeling about Mbappe today. I really do. I think he'll finally score an open play goal at the Euros. But then again, I said this back in match day 1 before the tournament started. Mbappe running through the side of Navas and Nacho. I don't think Nacho's that bad. I think maybe he can be seen as an average defender. I can understand it, but I think Navas is the big weak link there. So yeah, I think Mbappe's a good option. Who do I transfer in for Pepe? I've gone for Saliba right now. Rodri captain, not a bad shout, but I think Rodri's really a player to have in your team, but not captain. Olmo has a much higher ceiling, same with Mbappe for today. Jules Koundé. I'd go for Declan Rice over Foden. Yeah, that question's been spammed as well. Hi Dylan, what about Yamal? He's 4th in my list for forwards, and then Depay is 5th, but I still prefer Gakpo, Mbappe, and Kane. Olmo or Rodri? Dani Olmo for sure. Now, between Fabian Ruiz, Rodri, and Williams, it's a coin toss, but I think Olmo has the edge over the others right now. If you're hedging France versus England final, is this the best wildcard? Magnan, Saliba, De Vrij, Laporte, Upamecano, Gay, Olmo, Rice, Rodri, Williams, Saka, Mbappe, Kane, Dembele. It's a good squad. It's well thought out, but I'd still have a bit more coverage from Spain or Netherlands, especially from Spain, because some of these games are literally going to come down to fine margins. And if, let's say, for example, even one of those teams don't reach the final, you could have some issues going into match day 7. So to break it down, you've got how many Dutch? You've got just one Dutch, and you've got 2 Spanish, 3 Spanish. Okay, 4 to be fair. 4 Spanish is not too bad, actually. Yeah, if it's a Spain-Netherlands final, you would have to take a hit to get to a full 11. So my advice would be to get at least one more Spanish or Netherlands player if possible. So Gakpo in for Dembele could be that insurance policy. No, I don't think Weghorst will start the game. So the answer is no. Now, if it goes to extra time, yeah, Weghorst could play 50, 60 minutes, but I don't think he'll play 70. I personally prefer Laporte. It's up to you. There's not much of a difference, but I think Laporte has been better for ball recoveries recently. Welcome, Aziz. Your top 3 captaincy picks in order. For today, Dani Olmo, Mbappe, Koundé, but the first 2 can definitely switch. I've said this before. Yep, also cover this as well. Olmo and Mbappe would be my favourites. 4 Spanish, 4 French, 3 English, and 4 Dutch is a good balance. Yeah, I think so. I'd arguably put more English than Dutch, but that's a personal preference. Not really, to be honest. I don't know why. I just can't. I've tried. Trust me. I've tried to support England, but I just can't. You know, I can't really force myself to do something I don't want to do, and I haven't really had that connection with the English national team ever. Maybe that'll change one day, but I think the closest I've been to supporting England was against Slovakia because I had Euro fantasy points on the line, and I'm very happy when an Arsenal player scores or assists. But apart from that, not really. I'm sorry, I just can't support them. Bellingham, Kante, or Saka? Bellingham. Koundé or Olmo for captain? I just covered that. Danny Olmo for me. Can we use Limitless Chip in the final? You can, but I think it's not that strong. You know, even at this stage of the competition, it's actually difficult to go over budget. And going into the final, I honestly think it's going to be impossible to go over the budget. So the Limitless does lose a lot of its strength there. Captain today? Yeah, I think I've covered this to death. I'll make my final decision on my captain very soon, but Olmo or Mbappe will be my final pick. Why only 2 Dutch? I think England reached the final, and apart from Xavi Simons, Depay, I just think there are better options from other teams elsewhere, to be honest with you. And even then, I wouldn't go for Depay over Mbappe, Gakpo, or Kane. And with Xavi Simons, he's the closest to making my final squad, but I do like Bellingham and Saka at the same time. Do transfers roll over? No. So, just like UCL Fantasy, and I covered this in the rules section at the beginning of the tournament, you can only roll transfers in the group stages. You can't do it in the knockouts, so the answer is no. I have Wildcard and Limitless. I play Limitless now, Wildcard in Matchday 7, but I think both chips lose their appeal as you get deeper into the competition, particularly the Limitless. I think with the Wildcard, with the way things have gone out, it's quite strong in Matchday 6, but yeah, just use the Limitless now. Can you order Xavi Simons, Rodri, or Rice? Rice first, Simons second, Rodri third. It's a very, very difficult one to answer. This has been my worst fantasy since my first ever FPL, where I left it for 6 months. I'm sorry to hear that, Twisted Parky. FPL was actually my worst ever last season, but it happens to all of us. You can't always perform that well, but hopefully you can have a strong end and salvage something. Thank you, Haribo. Do you prefer Rice or Gay? They're both great options, but Mark Gay would be my preference, and I think it mainly comes down to clean sheets. Most likely clean sheet odds, I'd say England. Then I'd probably say France. I mean, it's such a difficult one because Spain have the better attack, but France have such a solid defence. I personally think Netherlands have the worst chance of a clean sheet, and that's why I've only got 1 Dutch defender in De Vrij. But yeah, I'd say England first, then it's between Spain or France for second place. I'm not sure because Depay took a penalty in this tournament, if I'm not mistaken. It's between Depay and Van Dijk, but I think Depay is first. Theo, Simon, or Cucurella Magnan? I'd go for Theo and Simon. Thank you, by the way, to Twisted Parky for moderating the chat. I've gone for Saka, Arush, but Declan Rice is also solid. Olmo or Laporte captain? Olmo. I've gone for Koundé captain. That's fair enough. I regret not going for him in the last match day. That game kind of screamed out a 0-0 or low scoring and extra time penalties. I don't know why I didn't act on it. But this game, I think, could be maybe not high scoring, but I could see both teams getting on the score sheet. Kante or Simons? I've gone for Kante right now, but that might change, to be fair. Ruiz or Rodri? I'm going to stick with Ruiz, but Rodri, a lot of people are mentioning him, and he is tempting, I have to say. He's a big game player. Yeah, Koundé is certainly a good captain. He's in my top 3 for today. Laporte and Rice or Cucurella and Saka? Probably Cucurella and Saka, but it's honestly 50-50. It's not much in it. Any thoughts about Argentina-Canada? It'll be a tough game, but I think in the first match in the group stages, Argentina played very well offensively. They created 9 big chances, but the finishing was off. Canada also had some opportunities of their own. It could have been a 4-1, 5-2, 5-3 kind of game, really, but it ended up being 2-0. I think this time, I think Argentina will react after their worst performance in 5 years against Ecuador. I'd say Argentina get the job done, but it's going to be difficult. I'd say 2-0, but let's wait and see. Is Verbruggen a bad pick? No, he's not a bad pick, but I prefer Pickford for tomorrow. Rabiot or Navas for captain? Can I say neither? I wouldn't go for any of them, to be honest. If I had to pick one, it's probably Navas. I've covered this before, Alexander. Basically, lower ownership and better ball recoveries in the knockout stages. Hey, Dylan, Gakpo or Yamal? Gakpo. Saliba or Upamecano? Saliba. Yeah, some questions I have answered already, so I'm not going to go into the game. Hopefully you do understand. I need to gamble my captain for today. Rodri, Ruiz or Nico? Nico Williams. Yep. Got Walker, Cucurella, Theo, Ake. Suggest best defender for the 5th spot. I don't know who your other defenders are, which makes it difficult to answer, but my favourite would probably be Theo Hernandez. It's between him and Walker. Probably Walker, but I don't know the rest of your setup. Opinion on Foden? It could be his time to shine. It's about, you know, he hasn't really stepped up in this tournament. He has to do it at some stage. But I think Rice, Saka, Bellingham are all better in the midfield. Do you think Dutch triple up in defence for Bruggen, Van Dijk and De Vrij is a crazy differential? It could work out because England are underperforming, but as bad as they've been, they always seem to score a goal when it matters. So, yeah, against Slovenia, it was a goalless draw, but in every other game, they've scored a goal, a clutch one, especially in the last 2 rounds, and I think they'll score again against the Netherlands, who can be disjointed at times at the back. Crespo's my favourite player ever. Yeah, he was very underrated. That goal against Liverpool in the Champions League final was such a great one. The pass by Kaka and the chip by Crespo. Quality player, quality finisher. Shame he played for Chelsea. But yeah, is Verbruggen a bad pick? Covered. You said to go for Nico and Olmo. Who should I replace Ruiz with? Someone non-Spanish, please. I'm not sure what you mean, because you can go for 3 Spanish players if you want in the midfield, but I don't know who your other midfielders are for me to answer that question, because yeah, it's just difficult. Now, if I had to pick between Olmo and Nico Williams, I'd replace Nico Williams for Fabian Ruiz. It's ultimately very close between those two. I'm going for Williams for the attacking potential, pretty much. I think Ruiz is probably a more solid option, more likely to get points in terms of ball recoveries, and he's had a great tournament, but Williams is very exciting to own. In my opinion, I think Foden is finally going to score. I can understand that, and that's where the wild card, playing it now and going for a Foden, could really pay off. But it's so close picking those English players in the midfield because they're not scoring many goals, but they're all capable of that one big return, and the Netherlands aren't the greatest defensively. So I'm just going to check Twitter and see if there's any news about tomorrow, but I don't think that's the case. Yeah, I don't see anything right now, unfortunately. Yeah, nothing right now. I meant to have those 4 defenders. Suggest someone else for the 5th spot. Right, okay. If I can remember what you put, which is going to be difficult, actually. Neski says -4 on Carvajal. Probably not. Probably not. As an Argentinian, do you enjoy Brazil being terrible? Yes, to a certain degree. Now, there is an element of respect. Argentina-Brazil is the best rivalry on in international football, but do enjoy it. I'm not going to lie to you. So yeah, I can't see the other one. Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming in, so yeah, I can't see it. Why Olmo and Williams over Ruiz and Rodri? Well, for me, Olmo's been the most consistent in terms of GA. And with Williams, I do concede that he is kind of his end product does lack a little bit, and that's why a Rodri or Ruiz could come in for me. But yeah, Williams is the most likely to score or assist between him, Ruiz and Rodri for me personally. And that's what I've gone from at the moment, but I will admit that is something I could change. Olmo, though, is for me the best Spanish midfielder in the game. Maignan is arguably better than Unai Simon, but I went for a balance of Laporte in the defence and 2 French defenders and Unai Simon in goal there. So I'm quite happy with the way I've structured my team with outfield players and having 4 from Spain and 4 from France. But if you're not really thinking about all that and you just want the better goalkeeper, maybe Maignan is the one. Now, a lot of us are backing Spain for the win, and that also plays a part in us going for Unai Simon. Captain for tomorrow, probably Mark Gay, as covered it in the team selection and all my other videos. Xavi, Simmons, Cucurella, Unai, or Rodri, Laporte, Maignan. Probably Rodri, Laporte, and Maignan. Is Rice over Saka a dumb move? Not necessarily. I think Rice is a good option. I have no idea if this is one you've already covered. Yeah, as I just said, I probably wouldn't take a -4 hit to replace Carvajal. I think 14 players is already enough. 2-1 Twisted Parky. In my predictor, I've put 2-1 France, but that's only to kind of go against the typical predictions. I personally think Spain will win 2-1, but I'm going the opposite way and seeing what ends up sticking. Is your strategy in the semi-finals usually to build a balanced team instead of betting on two? Yes, but there are occasions where I'm so confident, like in UCL Fantasy this season, I knew Real Madrid will reach the final, in a way. I know Bayern Munich are a tough team, but yeah, there are certain occasions where I'm that confident in, let's say, Argentina, France reaching the World Cup final that I kind of go all in on those teams as well. But yeah, this one is a different entity and a different beast because it's so difficult to call some of these matches, particularly tonight, between Spain and France. Yeah, thank you to Stepaki once again. Some of these questions are being spammed to death, which is a bit frustrating. Yeah, look, Yamal's still a good option. I just prefer Kane, Gakpo, and Mbappe. It's not really much more to it. You can still keep him. Rodri or Olmo? Olmo. Not a guarantee that Dumfries will play 90 minutes, but he could play easily 70 plus. That's for sure. Lower ownership and also ball recoveries are identical for both, so that's why. Kane, Bellingham, Saka, or Gay for Captain Day 2? Gay. Is having only 13 players worth a -4? I just stick with 13 players. De Vrij or Dumfries? De Vrij. I'm down to Theo versus Saliba decision, and I'm honestly leaning towards Theo. I think it's very close, to be honest. Yeah, it is very close. I think what could decide it for you is Spain's right-hand side with Nacho at right centre-back, who for me is decent, but Jesus Navas at right-back, that could be a big problem. Yeah, I think Kante plays more minutes than Tchouameni, but it's usually Rabiot and Camavinga who kind of rotate, and that's the main sub that Didier Deschamps makes in the midfield. Now I use Limitless, players in buy will stay in the final match. No. If you're saying the players that you bought before using the Limitless will go through to the final, no. You can't do that. ¿Cuáles serían 3 jugadores diferentes que podría sugerir? Voy de segundo en mi liga. Memphis Depay, De Vrij y Aymeric Laporte. Rice or Rodri? I think Rice. Apologies if you already answered, just tuned in. I have 13 players, 0 transfers left. I would probably just stick with 13, the Mantis. Now, I'm not sure which players you're looking to sell and buy, but in most cases, I just stick with 13. Dylan, creo que la estrategia debería ser tener 9 jugadores de hoy y 6 de mañana, en lugar de 8 y 7, porque mañana tendrías que sacar alrededor del 40% de tu equipo y eso podría tener problemas. Sí, está bien lo que decís, pero tenemos que pensar también en la final y tener un equilibrio entre Holanda, Inglaterra, Francia y España. Y ya es bastante mal que tengo solo 2 jugadores de Holanda, pero entiendo lo que está diciendo y sí, es un punto válido, digamos. Optics just pick 1 and STFU. Wow, okay. I don't know what that's about. Hugo says, Rees, Olmo. I'm not going to lie, when you said optics, I thought you were talking about Optistats or something. Who to drop for Kante, Saka or Rice? Probably Rice, but I think Declan Rice is a very good option. I really do. Por favor, un defensa. Tengo a Gay, Koundé, Van Dijk y Cucurella. John Stones. John Stones or Saliba. I have just 2 French players, Koundé and Mbappe. Which defender would you suggest? Saliba or Theo Hernandez would be the top 2 picks, and I've currently gone for Saliba, but that could also change. Theo from an attacking standpoint, but Saliba for ball recoveries. Yeah, exactly that. And you could say Theo Hernandez is due, and he's got a great record for France in terms of assists. But yeah, I might change that myself, by the way, but there's also the Arsenal factor. I haven't owned Saliba all tournament, and I want to change that. Thank you for the super chat, Gurf. Why include Simmons in Limitless but nowhere else? Well, look, Simmons could still enter my final team, and it would also balance my squad for the Euros final. And I have to say, certain picks in my team aren't locked in. I think maybe the 1 pointer he got in Matchday 5 when I bought him has put me off a little bit, to be quite honest with you. But one likely change I could do is Kante for Simmons, maybe Declan Rice for Saka, and then Theo Hernandez for Saliba. I think everything else is relatively locked in, dare I say. Maybe I change Nico Williams for Rodri, or maybe I go for Fabian Ruiz as well. But yeah, I have to say Simmons could come in for me for N'Golo Kante. But I'm very confident in England reaching the final, and that's the reason why I haven't gone for him currently. Laporte captaincy thoughts. In terms of Spanish players, it's not a bad shout. Dani Olmo would be my preference, but amongst defenders, I think Laporte is the very best. Spain versus Portugal would have been a way better match to watch. Arguably, but Portugal aren't necessarily the most exciting teams themselves, aren't they? Yeah, France have been very underwhelming in this tournament, but I think this could be a good game. Spain-France, I think this will have a few goals, dare I say. Sorry if you answered already, I have one space left. I'd say Fabian Ruiz in isolation, but if you are wildcarding, or you also are thinking about Matchday 7 and finding a balance between all four teams, just bear that in mind when making your transfers and your final squad. But my favourite would be Fabian Ruiz, I think. I honestly think Rabiot's little attack threat makes him a better pick. Don't think Kante will get many ball recoveries against Spain. That's a fair shout. That is really a fair shout. And Kante doesn't get that many ball recoveries compared to Declan Rice, for example. He really doesn't. And to give you specific numbers here, Kante has made 20 ball recoveries, which is decent, right? But then compare that to Declan Rice, who is priced at, well, very similarly, a bit more expensive, but he has made 35 ball recoveries to produce 11 points overall, whilst Kante has only produced 5 points from ball recoveries. So, yeah, look, I might change N'Golo Kante. I think he's the most likely switch I'm going to make in this team. So let's now go to the transfer section and make some modifications to the squad. Let me know in the live chat what you would change with this 50-man team. But I think N'Golo Kante isn't really my cup of tea right now. Although, if I went for him in Matchday 5, it would have been better than Xavi Simons, who let me down big time. And it would have also resulted in Maignan in goal for me. But you can't have it all. I also bought Jules Koundé and De Vrij. They both did very well for me in Matchday 5. But yeah, Xavi Simons could be a transfer here. Maybe Declan Rice as well, but going all in on England does seem a bit excessive. I'm not sure if I'd go for Bellingham, Saka and Rice at the same time. It's two of them and then Xavi Simons for me. Nico Williams could also make way, I have to say. He did very well against Georgia. It was so tough watching Spain without owning Nico Williams, and I'm grateful he only got 10 points. Then he got player of the match in Matchday 2, but the goal contributions aren't really there for him on a consistent basis. So, exciting player to watch. He might do something against France, but I might end up going for a Rodri instead, or a Fabian Ruiz. That is what I could end up doing. So Fabian Ruiz, who's been relatively consistent, I'd say, in this tournament. Yes, there were two blanks technically, but then the yellow card did kind of shift things here in Matchday 5. He always gets you something, either a ball recovery point or a goal contribution. So that could be another change. Saliba or Theo Hernandez is another one. And Saliba is actually slightly higher owned than Theo Hernandez, but that could be another change to my team. Maybe De Vrij out or another Dutch defender. That's also something to consider. Van Dijk could be due, especially with the goal threat he has. It would not surprise me if he scored against England. But his ownership at 49%, 50% really does put me off, to be honest. And look, I'd only have 0.1 million left in the bank after making these moves. But let me know down the live chat if you prefer these transfers or if you would recommend keeping some of these players like De Vrij, who was a very big reason why I got a green arrow in the quarterfinals. So right now we have around 1,000 people watching and we have reached over 300 likes. Thank you very much for all your support. If possible, let's try to get to 400 likes by the end of the deadline stream. It would be massively appreciated. Thank you to the super chatters, the patrons, and the channel members. I'll probably give a shout out after the deadline has passed and when the game is on between Spain and France. I'll probably still be active in the chat for a little while longer if people are still on it. But let's focus now on the deadline and these last minute conundrums. Thank you, Alex Leadham. It's always a pleasure to see you. Are you playing Euro Fantasy? I'm just wondering because I haven't seen many questions about Euro Fantasy from you in this tournament, if I'm not mistaken, but it's always a pleasure to see you. I don't think Navas is as good as Laporte for ball recoveries, and I also think Navas will be the weak link in that Spanish defence. And also, besides, if Spain reached a final, it'll be Carvajal starting instead of Navas, so I just don't think it's really worth it. Cucurella is still good, but I think Laporte is better. Lower ownership, more ball recoveries and knockouts, that's why. Yeah, Kante to Rodri is a good shout. I'm just a bit wary about imbalancing my team a little bit too much. I've put a tenner on Netherlands 4, England 1. Yeah, you've made a few wild predictions in the last few months, but I think some of them have actually turned out to be correct, so let's wait and see. Ruiz, Olmo or Rodri? Olmo. Yep, Limitless is like the free hit, but with no budget restrictions. It lasts for one match day only. If you make transfers and then use the Limitless, your transfers won't go through. Only 2 players from Spain. I need to go aggressive. What do you think? I'm not a big fan of that, because for me, Spain have been the best team in this tournament. It's a massive risk to only go for 2 Spanish players, at least 3 or 4. I think 2 is very imbalanced. Now, look, you could be onto something here, and if France go through to the final, Spain underperform massively, you know, that would be a massive game changer for you. But I think in terms of balancing a team and thinking about matchday 7, I try to have at least 1 more Spanish player. Since 2008, Spain versus France is 1-0, 2-0, 2-0, 1-1, 1-0, 1-0 to France, 2-0 Spain, and then 2-1 France. Yeah, that was the last meeting. France did win that. Mbappe scored. But yeah, Spain actually have the edge historically now. I think it's 16 wins for them and 13 for France in UEFA competitions. So that's definitely worth mentioning. No, he doesn't have a lot of points, but Kante doesn't have... Look, Kante has scored more points in this tournament, but I think he has kind of dipped in the knockouts. Not getting many ball recoveries, only 20 in this competition. So yeah, I don't think there's really a standout, really. I'd argue Declan Rice and Rodri are better, but I also don't want to have too many from Spain or from England. Yeah, once again, some questions are being spammed, even when they're being answered right now. What can I say? Bellingham or Rice? Bellingham for me still. I really like Rice, but Bellingham. I would say Olmo or Mbappe today, and Marc Gueye tomorrow. Magnan or Unai Simon? I've gone for Unai Simon, so I'll stick with that answer. Why Gueye and not Walker? Ball recoveries and points. Cucurella or Laporte? Laporte. I don't have enough transfers. Who to change, defender or goalkeeper? I'd rather go for a defender transfer. Rice or Kante? I think Rice. Switzerland being Italy wasn't even that wild. No, it isn't really. I thought Switzerland would win, but on penalties. I didn't expect them to beat them that comfortably in the end. I have only 2 Netherlands players. Yeah, so do I at the moment, but I might add a 3rd in Xavi Simons. Thoughts on a Spanish midfield and French defensive triple-up? If France go through, they'll keep a clean sheet, and if Spain go through, any of these midfielders could end up scoring, I guess. Well, it's possible, but France could go through and concede at the same time, so you just never know. And also, having 3 Spanish attackers, technically, compared to 3 French defenders, you could have a lot of blanks there. Now, look, it's all hypothetical, it's all subjective. I've currently got double-ups in both. But I think a triple-up in the midfield for Spain and a triple-up in France defensively, you're kind of relying on ball recoveries there from the French defenders and for the Spanish attackers to get some goals and assists, which will be difficult against this French defence. Thank you, Moman. Massively appreciate as always, and good luck for matchday 6. Well, this is my current team, and these could be some of my transfers. I'm just, as always, thinking until the end about possible changes. Cucurella, I haven't really changed my mind about him from before. Very good value for money, decent for ball recoveries, but I just prefer Laporte. I've gone for De Vrij right now. Lower ownership. It's a chance to gain some rank. I did it back in matchday 5, and it paid off big time. Thank you to Stepaki for moderating the chat again. Gakpo or Kane? I've gone for Kane. I think England have the slight advantage in this matchup, and Harry Kane will deliver, I think, in the semi-finals. Yeah, I'm also iffy on Kante too. The options are Rabiot, Camavinga, who's benched, and Tchouameni. I think Kante's the best for ball recoveries and also player of the match award potential. Ruiz or Rodri? Probably Ruiz, but Rodri's so good for ball recoveries right now. A bit like Laporte, he's growing into this tournament. Keep Nico or switch him out for Ruiz? That's my big question and conundrum. I'm currently sticking with Williams, but it could change. Top 3 captains for today. I've covered this extensively. Olmo, Mbappe, Koundé. it's a toss-up between the first two. I haven't made this transfer yet. I've currently got Saliba. Tchouaméni, a good shout. He's okay, but he's not really spectacular. Unless he gets a goal from outside the box, which he can do, but unless he does something like that, I really don't see a massive score from him. ¿Por qué no Yamal en vez de Kane o Gakpo? Es una buena pregunta. Para mí, Harry Kane es un jugador de grandes momentos y yo creo que va a anotar un gol acá en contra Holanda. Y con Gakpo está jugando muy bien, anotando muchos goles. Y Yamal, que está jugando muy bien, hizo 3 asistencias pero 0 goles. Así que yo ya tengo 2 jugadores de España en el medio campo, con Olmo y Ruiz o Williams, y eso es suficiente. Who is the captain today and tomorrow? Covered already. Olmo or Mbappe today, and tomorrow Gay. I would go for Bellingham there. Luke Shaw, not worth the risk. Thank you, Tiggy Taylor, for the super chat and also for the 5 memberships you gifted in the last stream. Just calling in to say good luck and thanks for all the content. I just want Yamal to score after the trash talk France gave him the presser. Thank you very much, Tiggy. And I saw something like that. I think Rabiot said Yamal has to do more than he's done in this tournament to help Spain progress, something like that. It's kind of dumb to say things like this, but it is what it is. Saka or Bellingham I just covered. I'd go for Bellingham. Wildcard now or next game week? I'd say now for most people. Olmo over Kante, Petros. That would be my preference. Gay or Laporte? Gay. What's the safest captain in your opinion, Mbappe or Koundé? The safest, based on this tournament, will be Koundé. 2 Spain, 1 England, 1 France, 1 Netherlands defence for me. Yeah, mine's identical. Now, I've technically got double-ups in England and Spain as well, with the goalkeepers. So, yeah, I can understand that. Nico Williams, big money move, coming soon. Wonder he will go. Yeah, he's been heavily linked to Arsenal, Barcelona. I just don't see him going to either club, to be honest, especially Arsenal. Saka or Rice? I've gone for Saka. Yeah, imagine trying to do mind games with a 16-year-old. Exactly, and Yamal isn't really a big-headed guy, it seems. You know, he's humble, goes about his business, so I don't know why. Rabiot does seem a bit off the head, you know. Morata as a shout? Not for me. I'd rather go for Yamal, and you've also got Nico Williams, Rodri, Ruiz, Dani Olmo. I think Ruiz is better in isolation, to be fair. CP says Mainu. Not in Euro Fantasy. Quality player, but I wouldn't go for him in this. Tinkering between Williams and Cucurella or Rodri, Ruiz and Laporte. I would go for Laporte. The midfield one is very tough. I'm facing the same dilemma. Would you rather go for 3 Spanish mids, 1 defence, or 2 mids, 2 defence? I'd go for the 2 from each position. Yeah, Ali, don't know why you're spamming the chat, mate. So, like I said, any spam questions like that aren't going to be answered. Kane or Yamal? I've gone for Kane. Yeah, I saw the Messi and Yamal photos. Kind of like a blessing, you know, Lion King settings. I don't have enough transfers. Whom to change, defender or goalkeeper? I did cover your question, Petros, a few minutes ago. I'd make a defender transfer. Luis says Dembele or Memphis Depay? Memphis Depay. Voy cuarto en mi liga y busco remontar con los que nadie tiene. Sí, Memphis Depay para mí. -4 points for a new goalkeeper? No. Just start one of them. My preference is Pickford. Ruiz or Rodri in this game? Difficult. I think the deeper you get into a competition, Rodri becomes more appealing. He steps up in the big moments. Fabian Ruiz has been better in this tournament so far. I've currently got him as one of my proposed transfers. I'm going to stick with him right now, but I have to say Rodri is very tempting. Very tempting indeed. All the best, Neskis, and no worries. Thank you very much for engaging in the chat. Cheers, Rory. There are some people asking constantly if this is my final team. I haven't made a final decision yet with some transfers. I will try to lock it in as soon as possible, but I'm also trying to answer the questions. So, yeah, what you see on screen are 4 possible transfers I could make, or 3, but it's not locked in. I could also bring in Rodri, Declan Rice, so it's not set in stone. No, I don't support Barcelona, no. In fact, I used to hate them back in the day, especially when they always beat Arsenal, sometimes a bit... let's say under very strange circumstances. Dylan, De Vrij or Ake, final choice? I've gone for De Vrij right now. I think the ownership is very appealing for me. Mañan or Simon, Unai Simon, yeah, I'd go for the Spanish goalkeeper. But in isolation, you could argue Mañan is a better pick, to be fair. But I think Spain have a better chance of going through. And also it allows you to go for 2 French defenders without really worrying about going all in on France. 3 France players doesn't look good, you know? Yeah, no, it doesn't look good, to be fair. They've still got a chance of reaching the final. That's why I've currently got Kante, but that could also change. One other thing I could do, which is very risky, is go for Mañan instead of Unai Simon and then go for a Spanish midfielder. But then that could cause some issues in terms of an imbalance as well. I mean, look, ultimately it's not really that much of a difference. But I think going for 3 French defenders, or Mañan in goal and these 2 in Saliba / Fernandes and Koundé, it's not really the ideal situation. Hey Dylan, Saka or Bellingham? Bellingham. Foden instead of Saka? Not for me. Now, it could be his time to shine. And it wouldn't surprise me if Foden scored in Matchday 6, but I think Saka's more consistent. Rice is a good choice? Definitely, 100%. Change goalkeeper or midfielder? Midfielder. Kante or Rodri? I think Rodri's better in isolation. I'd say Mbappe is a better captain, especially with Jesus Navas playing right back. 5 English players. Yeah, it does seem a bit much, I do agree. But I'm expecting them to reach the final, and they've got better Euro fantasy options than Netherlands in general. Captain Dembele, Mbappe, Olmo or Rodri. It's between Olmo and Mbappe for me. And I'd rank Koundé above Rodri and Dembele. Yeah, I'd start Pickford, but that's just the way I see it. Who would you take? How many defenders am I supposed to pick from those? I'm not sure, but yeah, Gay is my favourite. I'd go for Laporte to have 1 Spanish. Definitely go for Koundé, 100%. He's the best one. Yeah, so I've currently got De Vrij, Gay, Laporte, Koundé, and Saliba. I think Mbappe captain with Jesus Navas. Yeah, that's one thing that kind of tempts me to go for Mbappe, but he's been so underwhelming in this tournament with his returns. So second. So yeah, we've got 8 minutes left for the deadline. Let's be sure to lock in our teams. We have answered a lot of questions already, so yeah, some of them have been repeated. Of course, we know that. Stating the obvious. Yamal or Williams? Probably Williams. Theo for captain, a good choice. It's not bad. I prefer Koundé and Olmo and Mbappe, but yeah, Theo's up there today. I support Arsenal. They're my local team. Laporte or Olmo for captain? Olmo. I have 6 English players. Yeah, that seems like a lot. I mean, to be fair, I've got 5 myself, and it seems like way too much. But it is what it is, you know. Yamal or Morata? Yamal. Kane and Williams or Yamal and Saka? Probably Kane and Williams, but we're talking about very fine margins here. Yeah, good team, Twister Parky. Any changes? You could maybe go for Laporte over Cucurella for the ownership and ball recoveries. Possibly another Dutch defender over Van Dijk, but it's really nitpicking. It's a very solid team. I'm also kind of tempted to do what you're doing in terms of going for an extra Spanish midfielder. It's something that's really crossing my mind right now. But let's actually break this down. So if I were to bring in, let's say, Rodri or Williams and Fabian Ruiz, one of these players, and let's say we go for Mañan in goal. Yeah, it's just... It's thinking about Matchday 7 as well, and that's where those that save the wildcard are limitless for Matchday 7 will have a slight advantage. But let's say France are knocked out, and I've got Mañan, Koundé, Fernandes, and Mbappe eliminated. So I'm down 4 players. I'd have 11 players left, and then between Netherlands, England. Let's say Netherlands go out, then I'm down to 9 players in my 50-man squad. I just need 11 for the final. That's not too bad. With 5 transfers, it's easy peasy. But if England and France go out, then we're in a bit of trouble there, because I would have, I'd be down to 6 players. Not ideal. I'd be down to 6 players, 5 transfers, I get to 11, but only just. Now, if it was Spain instead, with this setup, yeah, same thing really. I've got 4 Spanish players still, but 4 of them are outfield and 3 of them are in the midfield position. So yeah, look, it's a difficult one, I think. I'm just not a big fan of going all in on Spain and England in the midfield, even though you could argue these 5 midfielders and Rodri are better than Kante, Xavi Simons in isolation. So very difficult decisions to make. Declan Rice as well, I'm a big fan of in the midfield. But you just can't have everybody. You really can't. So I think in the end, I'm just going to go for this setup. I think I'm not going to make too many changes. But Kante, I have to say, there's something in the back of my head that kind of says, Kante, not too sure about him in this match day. So that's the most likely change I'll make. Luke Shaw, I wouldn't risk it with him. He might start, but he definitely won't play 90 minutes or above, in my opinion. I'd rather go for Marc Guéhi. Spain and Netherlands to go through. 4 Spanish, 5 Dutch, 3 French and 3 English. Good. I mean, it's possible. That would be a repeat of the 2010 World Cup final, but it's a good balance you have, to be fair. I just think 5 Dutch is probably a bit overboard, personally. I think England will go through, but it's a matter of opinion. Who'll be your captain? It's Olmo or Mbappe, one of those two. Koundé is the outside shout, but yeah, I don't think I'll make too many changes there. But not much mid for France or Netherlands, yeah, exactly. Even with this, the thing is though, I'm never going to double up on the French midfield in matchday 6. For the final, maybe, should they reach it, but Tchouameni, Camavinga, Rabiot being the alternatives, it's just not really great, is it? And then for the midfield for Netherlands, you've got Xavi Simons, so from a Euro fantasy perspective, I'm kind of hoping it's not a France-Netherlands final. But it's still possible. Rice instead of Saka. I think Saka played quite well in match day 1 and he got the assist. But it is what it is, you know. Rice has been more consistent. I understand what you're saying there. Kane or Yamal? Well, I've gone for Kane, so that kind of answers that. Yeah, Yamal is still a good option. I've just gone for these 3 forwards. And I've also got 2 Spanish midfielders already. Possibly I'll add a 3rd. I'd go for Nico Williams-Zach in isolation. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for the great stream. You're very helpful and make the Euro experience more fun. May Argentina and England go far. Thank you very much. I don't support England in, you know, international football. I just can't really connect with them. Maybe that'll change one day, but good luck to your country as well, Miguel. Thank you very much. No, Cucurella's more attacking than Laporte, but the ball recoveries and the ownership is in Laporte's favour. If England win Euros, Bellingham gets the Ballon d'Or. Not sure if that's deserved, really, based on performances, but he had a great start to the season with Madrid. Good luck as well, Jorge. If I had to remove one, probably Rodri, but it's so close. Definitely my team with Ariz instead of Kante. Yeah, I'm really thinking about it, to be honest. I just don't like Kante that much. But if France go through and it's a tight game, Kante has that player of the match award potential. Maybe the odd ball recovery, but he hasn't been great in the knockout stages in terms of ball recoveries, and that's why I'm considering a late switch. There are still around 1,000 people watching. Let's get this stream to over 400 likes. We've literally got minutes left until the deadline. I might regret this, but I have to say Kante out is definitely screaming to me a little bit. I'd only have 3 French players though, and I think that's a bit... Yeah, it's just not enough French players. I know they've been poor, but yeah, I have to say, I can see why some people are going for 3 Spanish midfield and 3 French defensive coverage with Magnan and 2 defenders. I can understand why they're doing it, but yeah, I just don't like Kante so much in Euro Fantasy right now. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. So yeah, we're literally locking in just over a minute. I'll try to make my moves very quickly, but yeah, I don't see anything about tomorrow's games as well. But yeah, we've covered all the questions we need to. That's all done. Yeah, Hernandez is worthy of a punt, but I don't think I'd go for him. I prefer Koundé, Olmo, and Mbappe. Let's do it. Suerte, compadre. Igualmente. Mbappe, captain, brother? Maybe. No, don't do this, Alejandro. You compare me to every blonde person in the sun, under the sun. ¿Gakpo será buena capitán para el juego de mañana? Creo que sí, pero mi preferencia es Marc Guéhi. I'd say Spain and England. Finalize your team. Yeah, don't worry, I will. I've only got 20 seconds left anyway. I might regret this, but I'm going to go for... Now, you know what? I think I'm just sticking with it. I think this will be my final team. I don't think I'll make any changes. It's just Kante. I'm not too sure about, but whatever. It is what it is. We're back to this. I haven't made any changes from the beginning. I was considering Kante out for Fabian Ruiz, Rodri in particular, Declan Rice and Xavi Simons, but ultimately it's a balanced squad. I think the Netherlands, or the lack of Netherlands coverage, is the only imbalance I have. Everything else is well poised, but yeah, we have kicked off between Spain and France. I'm going to put the game on now, if possible, and I'll still be answering questions if people are still here. So if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe for new. Thank you to those that helped me reach 25,000 subscribers yesterday. Your support is massively appreciated. Tchouaméni risk. Yeah, it's just him, Kante, Camavinga, Rabiot. They aren't great, really. I only stuck with Kante because of the ball recoveries, which he can get from time to time. He kind of offers you a guarantee of 3 or 4 points, and also balance. That's the key reason. Yeah, I think Fabian Ruiz, like I said, Rodri are better in isolation, but if I went all in on Spain, and I've got a lack of Dutch players, it's not looking too good. Almost my final captain. I've stuck with him as a differential, but I have to say Mbappe today could be a difference maker up against Jesus Navas as the right back. I think that could be really a big factor. So it was between Olmo and Mbappe. Defenders can be captained though, and I should have probably captained more defenders in this tournament. Jules Koundé would be the standout there. But tomorrow I've got Mark Gay as my backup captain, and if not, Harry Kane, Bellingham, maybe Cody Gakpo would also enter my thinking. So let's wait and see. Some of these 50-50 calls I'm hoping go my way, but it's so difficult, you know. Even Williams versus Ruiz or Rodri, that could be an error, so to speak, or something that goes against me. I'd say also Rice, not having Rice instead of Bellingham or Saka. Once again, going for 3 Spanish midfielders, Unai Simon versus Magnan, Saliba versus Fio. Let's see how these 50-50 calls go. I'm hoping for not that much variance going against me this time round, but yeah, it's been a good tournament so far. Yeah, Kante, not many ball recoveries. Well, the thing is, though, with Spain dominating possession and France maybe kind of conceding it and going on the counter, Kante could get more ball recoveries in this match compared to others. But I do see what you're saying. He hasn't been great in that metric in the last couple of games. Ball recoveries mainly, maybe the Arsenal factor as well. And Theo hasn't been that impressive in terms of attacking potential in this tournament. Yeah, stay with Kante. Let's wait and see. These games could be ultimately low scoring anyway. I'm not Turkish, mate. Come on, I'm Argentine. And English. You know, those are my 2 nationalities. Switch Rodri for Williams. Yeah, Spain on the attack right now, by the way. And Yamal just slipped. It was a good ball in the box by Fabian Ruiz, who I'm hoping stays quiet today. Yeah, no Ruiz, but if Spain reach the final, I'll probably bring him in anyway and triple up on the Spanish midfield. It is what it is. He did well for me against Georgia, but I'm not expecting that level of return from Fabian Ruiz this time round, but he just produced a very good cross in the box. Maybe a little bit overhit. Good luck, Dice and MMK. I've just said it once and I'll say it again. When it comes to Euro International Fantasy, you're the man, Dylan. You're spinning the other YouTubers I watch. I appreciate that. I also do FPL content, but yeah, the numbers we get in international tournaments and Euros, well, and UCL Fantasy is on another level. I switched captain to Olmo last second. Maybe, but we've got the option tomorrow to salvage something. Yeah, I think Mbappe could do really well today, but he's up against a very good Spain team. So foul by Rodri, I believe, or by Yamal on Theo Hernandez. I only saw that from the corner of my eye. Yeah, I think it was Yamal who considered the foul. Yeah, it was. Logged in. Good luck, Dylan, and enjoy, guys. Likewise, Punjabi, always a pleasure. Good luck to you as well, KYZZ. Captain Koundé, hope it goes well. It probably will, considering how well he's done in this tournament. Kante almost recovered the ball. That wouldn't count. You're going to risk Captain Gay tomorrow? Probably. You know, I'm captaining an attacking today and a defender tomorrow. You know, you look at Gay's returns in this tournament, they've been very impressive, similar to Koundé. He offers those ball recoveries in abundance. I wouldn't really count on a clean sheet between Netherlands and England, but it could be a low-scoring game. I changed captain to Mbappe after I saw him take the mask off. Yeah, that's true, actually. That's true. Yeah, taking the mask off, he'll play with a bit more comfort. I have to say, Mbappe is kind of worrying me a little bit. But yeah, good luck, mate. Let's see how it goes. Thanks, Dylan. We have the same team except for Williams and Rodri, and Mbappe captain difference. Yeah, that could be enough. That could result in a mega swing, trust me. Went for triple Spanish midfield, no Williams. Yeah, Spain have so many good midfield options, so I can understand that. With Williams, you know, generally I've been saying it, Ruiz is a better midfielder in this game, but I just think Williams in a more advanced position could make the difference today, but maybe it's wishful thinking. Defender captain is the way forward in Euro 2024. 6 points is easily a stick. Yeah, definitely. 1 return is enough. Even 5 points would probably be sufficient for me. And Spain almost score, and this time it is Fabian Ruiz again. Jesus, he's looking really impressive in this game. Yamal with a fantastic cross. Yeah, Fabian Ruiz. I was so close to getting him as well. I'm really hoping he stays quiet. He's had a great start to this game, making late runs into the box, providing some good crosses. Probably Mark Gay, Tommy Raw, as covered before. Good luck as well, Akash. Went all in with Ruiz, Olmo and Williams. All in on the Spanish attack. No Simmons, because I think England will be good. Yeah, Kante just recovered the ball. Lovely. I'm sorry, I'm kind of clutching at straws here because I was very unsure about that Kante pick, but ultimately I went for balance over the Spanish midfielders. Yeah, good luck, mate. I think those 3 midfielders look great. Rodri as well. I could see him getting a lot of ball recoveries today. Easily 10 plus, you know. It wouldn't surprise me if he got that number if Spain go all the distance in terms of extra time and a penalty shootout. Rank 3K at the moment. Play safe or risk 1 or 2 differentials. I got this question earlier as well, and my advice is always to keep playing your game, which can be difficult because once you're close to securing a really high rank, you want to seal the deal, and most people end up being conservative. I probably would in that position as well, but yeah, I think just keep playing your game. Do a combination of both, 1 or 2 differentials, and play it safe in general. So captain Mbappe or Koundé maybe, but yeah, I think Olmo captain is also quite safe, so to speak, anyway. Mbappe almost threw on goal, but Spain defend that quite well. Yeah, but yeah, I'd have to say play it safe with 1 or 2 differentials at the same time. Yeah, Ruiz did miss a big chance. I'm happy with that. No, I didn't captain Mbappe. I'm not sure why he has 2 points. I think it's just a visual glitch, actually. That's actually a good question. Why is he got 2 points for me? Let's refresh this page just in case. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I captained Dani Olmo in the end. I wouldn't be against captaining Mbappe, but yeah, it's Dani Olmo as my captain, Mbappe as my, well, not even a vice. We're not in FPL right now, are we? But yeah, a lot of players today. I've got 7 from tomorrow, and ideally, especially at this stage of the competition, you could argue 9-6 is the best balance, as mentioned by a viewer earlier. But yeah, typically I'm quite happy with the 8-7 kind of equilibrium, should we say. And I've got some great options playing tomorrow. Ultimately, it should be a low-scoring match day, a bit like what we saw in match day 5. We're not going to see the high 90s and the 100 scores unless something ridiculous happens across both matches. So yeah, good question. So yeah, we're literally 4 likes away from 400. Let's get this stream to 400 before I end the stream. Yeah, I'm watching the game. It's literally right in front of me, behind my setup for this stream. So yeah, I'm watching it. Whenever I look up, I'm watching the game. When Dylan's stream is more entertaining than Euro semi-finals, by far the most boring football I've seen. It shouldn't be more entertaining because this is even me at my most entertaining, I'd say. Oh! And that's a goal for France. Colin Muani scores, assisted by Mbappe. So those that went for Mbappe have the early advantage. That is a great start by France. They finally score their first open play goal. And Ruler too, you just jinxed it. We finally get some action. A poor start there by France. And actually, just saying, by the way, just saying, you know, yeah. If we go to the predictions, I did put France 2-1, booster active. Now, that really was kind of to go against what my mini league rival is doing in that. And by the way, that's kind of like a personal mini league I've got going. Let's see if there's an offside in the build-up. I don't think there is. No, Mbappe is clearly onside. Good pass there. And that is a good cross by Mbappe. That is a great start by France. Colin Muani heads it in. And I literally said earlier, you can't rely on him in front of goal. But this time it's a header. And that's a good one, to be fair. Spain are behind. Wow, that is an interesting one. Damn, son. Damn, son. And actually, that would give me the lead in the mini league. So I'm kind of hoping France hold on from a predictor sort of standpoint, as you can see. So let's go back to my squad. Damn, captaining Olmo over Mbappe. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. But still early days. Still early days. A great start by Kylian Mbappe. Oh dear. Oh dear indeed. Mbappe assist, shoot. Yep, liked. Moani not going to be the best, he said. Well, look, we get things wrong, right? And Moani typically isn't really reliable in front of goal. So I still wouldn't have gone for him. Dembele would have been my preference. He scored a goal, well done, but he never really impressed me in this tournament. Thank you, have a nice evening. Went with Olmo captain and then Mbappe with the assist. Still early days, mate. It's 9 minutes in. There's still a long way to go. Olmo was kind of a differential captain. My gut told me France. Why did I go Spain? Yeah, look, but Spain started quite brightly. Fabian Ruiz was very close to opening the scoring. So my main mini league, 1 point between me and top guy and 10 points clear of third. Fair enough. So it looks like, based on the beginning, my only regret will be not captaining Mbappe. But with the rest of my structure, not too many regrets. Well, maybe going for Unai Simon instead of Magnan. But it is what it is, you know. Let's see if Kante can get some ball recoveries here. Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. I mean, look, ultimately, especially when you make like hundreds of videos like I have, almost 1,000 at this point, there's going to be times where you say something and it immediately backfires. And for Moani to score in 8 minutes, that wasn't in my book, mate. It really wasn't. I'm very surprised. I wouldn't say it's too shocking that France have scored first, though. And look, there's still plenty of time for Spain to react. And they're in the box right now. Dani Olmo with a back heel, but it's intercepted by Upamecano. And Fabian Ruiz gets a clear. Oh, good recovery there. Good, I wouldn't call that a recovery. Good clearance by Saliba. Mbappe got the assist, that's why. I'm not sure why his points are doubled. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Yeah, it's kind of a glitch, by the way. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to sell you dreams or anything. Yeah, as you can see, Mbappe's got 4 points. If only Mbappe got 8 points for me, that would have been great. That's a nice glitch that I had going there. Cheater, yeah, mate. Come on. That's the only way you can get a good rank in this game. Mbappe. I mean, look, it's about time he stepped up, and that's his first official assist of the tournament. But let's see if he can score now from open play. If he does, yeah, that's going to be a tough one to take, really. But yeah, Spain are on the attack. They've been dominating this game. What FPL changes are coming? I'm honestly not sure, to be fair. I think new chips, if I had to guess, but I doubt they'll add a ball recovery system or rewarding defensive actions like Sky Fantasy Football do. I don't think they'll do that, but it would be a pleasant surprise, let's put it that way. So yeah, Cucurella recovers the ball there. If that counts, I think it would. It's kind of grey what officially counts as a ball recovery in UCL Fantasy and in the Euros, to be fair, but yeah, good start for Mbappe captain. It's fair play to all of you. I'm kind of slightly regretting going for Unai Simon as well over Magnan, but early days, early days. I still think Spain score. But France, solid defence. Only 1 goal conceded in this tournament, which was a penalty in Matchday 3. But surely Spain's attack finds a way through. And hopefully they do, because otherwise I'll probably regret going for Unai Simon. Now, I do have Pickford in goal to replace him. I've got English defenders. You know, I've got Marguerite and De Vrij. You know, I've got options for tomorrow, but yeah, Moani scoring, wow, that is, I can't lie, it's very surprising to me. But that's football. It's football. It's a humbler. Bro, France scored, well, as long as England don't qualify, I might not hit the final. Yeah, I said earlier, I think one of them will reach the final. Maybe not both, but I think one of them do. Navas is just booked, by the way. Condolences to those that went there. It's not a good start at all. Yeah, that was a yellow card offence on Rabiot, who does deserve it, by the way, for all the crappy chat about Yamal. Hopefully does get humbled, but that is a yellow card offence by Jesus Navas. Yeah, he kind of had to do that, otherwise Mbappe could have been put through in a very dangerous position. Yeah, it's just him up against Navas. You know what? I can't lie, I didn't know he had the mask off. If I knew that, nah, I probably wouldn't. I would have stuck with Olmo, didn't I? I just didn't even change the captain in the end, but yeah, that is also another kind of tick to the Mbappe box. We could see another goal contribution for him. I'm not going to lie to you. Thank you to those that tuned in today. We did get up to 400 likes and also to 25,000 subscribers yesterday. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. Rabiot's down right now. Let's see if he recovers. But keep on plugging away at all the links in the description below, such as my Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, for more Euro Fantasy, UCL, and FPL updates. You can also follow me on Spotify for free and also as a member to gain early access to my podcasts, and also check out my Patreon and the memberships on YouTube, where you can get early access to my videos at all times and also priority reply to comments, amongst many other perks. There is the Euro Fantasy League, which is also free to join, of course, and good luck to those who are looking to win that mini league too. I disagree with it too. I don't think Rabiot's world class. He's decent, you know, he does a job, but I think he's far from it. Heart says Spain versus Netherlands. Head says France versus England. Yeah. Before today, I said Spain versus England. I'll stick with that, but I'm happy in my predictor. I put France to score first and for them to win, because currently it's going well from that perspective. Thank you as well, Rishi. Good luck to you. Yeah, tonight I'll cheer on Olmo like never before. Hopefully I can remain the rank I'm at or go up. Very happy with it. It's typical, right? I never owned Olmo until now. And of course, he got 14 points in Matchday 5. Mbappe, meanwhile, just blanking yet again. And now, when we all change to Olmo, or when some of us do, we're seeing Mbappe cook, no mask, up against Jesus Navas. But that was always going to be a bit of a mismatch, to be fair. And he's taking a free kick. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully he doesn't score. Yeah, tonight, yeah, I just covered that, sorry. So, yeah, let's see how this free kick goes. This might be a mistake, because if he scores, I'll cry. Okay, no, it's just straight at the wall, Ronaldo style. Just joking, okay, before people get offended. But, yeah, still 100 people watching. Thank you very much. I know I'm not visible. It's the outro screen. It's supposed to be the end of the line. It's not a big deal, don't worry. I'll be ending things soon. Olmo, more like Olmo. Fair enough. Wait, actually, did I misread that? I probably did. No, fair enough. You just kind of separated the name. Yeah. I'll probably do the same thing if he blanks in the end. Well, not the best of starts, let's put it that way, unless you captain Mbappe. And if you went for Colomwani, I have to say, very much, you know, that's really good. Surely no one here has captained Colomwani, right? Otherwise, I'll definitely end the stream. That's for sure. But yeah, good start to the game. At least we have a goal. I saw someone earlier say there will be no goals between both semi-finals. I still thought there'd be one goal at least, and we've got it already. Hopefully we get more throughout both matches. Otherwise, it's going to be more of a ball fest, really. But yeah, thank you to everyone. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you very soon for more Euro Fantasy content, and FPL will be coming out very soon. And the plan is to make more videos on live streams out of next season. There should be some big changes, but let's wait and see if that's all a smokescreen. Take care. Enjoy the football. I wish you all the best of luck for Matchday 6, and of course next week for the Euros final. I'll catch you very soon.